Give us an update on the conditions and what it's like out in the water in Ballito this morning.
Yeah, the conditions today are a little smaller and slower, but still really clean and a couple good turns to put in.
The World Surf League's Challenger Series is in Africa. A stellar run through the 2 stops in Australia. Now the 3rd stop at beautiful Ballito in South Africa. And we are joining us for live coverage this morning. Again, early beach scenes this morning. Everybody down at the shores, getting into position. Classic winter conditions, as is this time of year. We see that southwesterly buster brushing the lineup here. Competitors out early, working over the sandbars. A beautiful set of surfing breaks here in Ballito every year to greet our international visitors and, of course, to greet you all. And we trust that you've been following the show, and welcome to the 3rd day it's looking of competition. Gig Cilliers alongside Emma Smith, former J-Bay Ripper, and, well, former CT surfer Greg Emsley. Good morning, Sawabona.
Morning.
Morning, team, and excited for the day ahead.
Yeah, it's looking fun.
Yep,
Got to
good
watch in the
conditions
dark.
as we saw on the opening shots there this morning, guys. It's been a big week already. We've got through a lot that first day. 2 days back, we got women's and men's opening rounds done. And then yesterday, a big day of competition. A lot of heats through that round of 64 and a lot to go through as well, as we'll start having a look at those highlights this morning. But good solid surf, no problems with surf conditions here in Ballito for this visit. Another look behind the scenes this morning. Everybody in preparation. We are anticipating a round of 32 of women's surfing to perhaps begin a little later this morning. We'll wait for that official call. But slightly chilly conditions, as is typical of this time of year. But everybody is ready and everybody's got their game faces on. Seeing Aaron Brooks' dad there, can't miss him. Amongst all the other competitors, Sophia Medina down at the water's edge. And certainly the lineup every morning from early in the dark is packed. Everybody's out there fitted into the coves here at Ballito for those warm-up surfs, Emma.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually part of my morning routine to go stand a little bit in the dark, see the sunrise, and literally feel like you're watching either an air show or rail, like J-Bay contests. Yeah, everyone's just ripping, packed, crowded, warming up.
Yeah, it's a tangibly excitable atmosphere. Let's start talking a little bit about what unfolded yesterday. And, well, those highlights from yesterday coming your way now. Solid surfing in contestable and sometimes some overhead sets in the lineup yesterday, Greg.
Yep, it was a good day of surfing. And when I say a good day, we had a couple of excellent scores, but a lot of very good scores. Good scores in the 7 range, and the surfing was just outstanding. You saw speed, just the guys attacking every section. And again, the 2-turn combo was the order of the day. But I just loved talking through it in the booth and then sitting on the beach and watching it live. It was really in-your-face, strong surfing.
Well, the surf conditions yesterday in that head-high range, allowing for... There were 2 ways to attack the lineup, and we saw as the tide came in, Greg, a lot of surfers going up and over the lip for some good category scores.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Carlos Munoz getting a solid, a good score there, a 7+ ride. Unfortunately, not making it through that heat. But yeah, multiple good aerial maneuvers, air rotations, but of course we saw the solid turns as well coming into play.
Dimitri Polis brought a great attack to the lineup. Of course, a number of Australians making it through. We saw Morgan Sibilik, Kaya Obeli on screen. He got through. And the South Africans fell like skittles. And Luke Thompson started his final heat of the afternoon yesterday with an incredible 7.33 and was on his way to a perhaps progression through the heat.
Dream start for Luke Thompson, everything going his way. He played the game right, he backed his score up, and then of course a little bit of misfortune right at the end, Gigs.
Well, as we mentioned, just having a look at some of those highlight moments. We mentioned the Australians making progression through the rounds. Also made note of Nat Young's performance yesterday. And just to segue back to that discussion with Luke Thompson, we got an interesting situation to wrap up the day's contest yesterday. One of those classic cases of the interference rule being applied. And we'll go back and have a look at that very moment to wrap up yesterday's proceedings. And it was a situation where, as we go into the moment, the horn blows right about now.
Yeah, once the horn's gone, there's no priority. You lose priority. As soon as I was watching it live, as soon as I saw Luke heading towards him, I thought, just don't do it. And that's an interference. Ian Gentile knew exactly what was going on, the experience, he played it, played the cards right, and Luke stood up after the siren, and there's no more priority once the siren's called.
Much discussion, all priority cancels once the horn blows. So one of those interesting situations, we've seen it a few times, but certainly Luke Thompson will make a note in his notebook, just 20 years of age. The young South African will be disappointed with the way that heat wrapped up, but nonetheless, he learns from it, and it showed the experience there of Ian Gentile as well. He knew what situation he was rolling into. Didn't need a mid-range 5, didn't get it for the maneuver, but an interesting workover of the playbook there.
Yeah, and it's a tough call. And in Luke's mind, he wouldn't have really known if the heat was finishing. There's so much going on, and it's just one of those fine line sort of errors, and he will definitely learn from it.
Well, crisp conditions here in Ballito this morning. Let's go down and join Mark Frew for the call.
Faheen, you were out there almost first this morning before light. They've called the ladies on. Give us an update on the conditions and what it's like out in the water in Ballito this morning.
Yeah, the conditions today are a little smaller and slower, but still really clean, and a couple good turns to put in. So 35-minute heats, and we're on for today.
Good luck for your heat, and we look forward to seeing you surfing in the event.
Thank you.
Well, the official call, it's on. We will get into women's round of 32 surfing. Beautiful conditions greet us here for the third morning of competition schedule. And, well, there is your overview of the lineup. Round of 32, Heat 1 about to get underway. Isabella Nichols comes to South Africa after 2 very successful Challenger Series stops. She gets here ranked second. She'll be taking on Kira Pinkerton, the young American from San Clemente, California. And then we'll look out for Jessie van Niekerk, who will be holding the South Africa's hopes higher in the round. Also, Amari Suzuka from Japan will join the heat. 4-person heats here, and 35 minutes being set by the head judge. Once again, a good morning from myself, Gig Saliers, joined with Emma Smith in the booth. And 35 minutes, southwesterly wind blowing and the low tide. It's game on.
It's game on. Dreamy conditions. Yeah, we can see now this is a replay from Kira. Just not, I don't think one of the best waves on offer.
Well, Kira Pinkerton just getting a little stuck behind the section there. Quick pull and getting things moving this morning. She'll be down in 4th priority there. No other rides just yet as you join the live coverage. It is the World Surf League's Challenger Series Stop 3. Of course, 6 opportunities for surfers to climb to the top 5 on the women's rankings come season end. And of course, after this, the US Open of Surfing, moving on to Portugal and then to Brazil. And of course, we'll extract the top 4 results per female surfer. And those 5 will be part of the championship tour come next year. And we'll see if Kira Pinkerton can find her way there. 5.5 in for an earlier ride as you're just joining us. And as we mentioned, first time we've seen the heat window open up to 35 minutes. And here goes the South African Jessie van Niekerk. As we mentioned, crisp morning offshores, water temperatures in and around 21 degrees centigrade. It's high 70s, low 80s Fahrenheit. So the water is warm, and really the thin wetsuits being used is just to keep that sort of air chill off in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. The mornings have that little bit of an air chill. I do sometimes think some of, the guys and girls coming from colder places, if they feel a little more confident having their wetsuit layer. I know a couple surfers who do. But yeah, that was a nice turn from Jessie. I know a few days ago she had quite a bad allergic reaction to a bee sting, and she seems to be recovering well. She had a good first heat too.
Yeah, that's a crazy story, actually. I did tease her on the broadcast saying that she's got a very broad smile, but one of her cheeks was absolutely swollen out. We'll talk more about that. Let's have a look at live action here. Kira Pinkerton, second wave. In fact, it's her 3rd ride already. She opened at the 5.5. She's a smaller one behind that, but this wave 3, she's keeping busy in the lineup, and it's a good way to attack it. It is beach break conditions here, and we do have that stronger offshore wind blowing this morning. Seeing Isabella Nichols just working and positioning, referencing and compassing, looking for the exact pocket takeoff zone. We are on the low tide conditions. You can see the rock work exposed on the left of screen. And very contestable again, and we'll get the round of 32 underway here this morning.
Yeah, good waves and long heats, which gives for plenty time to get 2 good waves. I don't know, maybe you can confirm it, but we might also see the waves start breaking closer to the rocks throughout the day if that southerly swell comes.
Yeah, well, as I say, the Southwest Buster surf line being very accurate in their predictions of the increase in swell. You can see those southerly swell lines moving through the Indian Ocean here. They start way down past Jeffreys Bay towards the southern tip of Africa. They do make their way up here. Anytime there's a southwesterly pushing it along, we do expect a swell increase. And certainly no problems with swell size here for the 2024 edition of the Ballito Pro. Kira Pinkerton, meanwhile, adding a 4.1 early on to her. She's done all of that in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good way to start the heat. And she's looking strong. I like how she brought a bit of innovation on that third one. Slightly smaller score, but I like the little slide she added in there, not doing the same turns.
Well, patience being shown here by Isabella Nichols, the far more experienced of the competitors in the lineup. Amora Suzuki as well, no rides for her. We'll constantly update you top left of screen for the heat proceedings. And of course the computer extracting the 2 best scores per surfer, does a combination, does the addition, and that's how we end up with these sometimes weird decimals. Of course, 5 judges on the panel, highs and low opinions. Let's start breaking down some replays.
Yeah, so she started well, and I like how she just did a little slide there. I think knowing it's a smaller wave, needed to bring something different. But yeah, she started off with a slightly better wave, and her second wave didn't go in her top 2. So I think it was a good backup to start.
Well, Kira Pinkerton now into her early 20s, a world junior champion back in 2018. She hails out of that power pocket of surfing in the global picture called San Clemente. Think of the success of the Americans here last year. Cole Hauschman getting that win. Of course, Cade Matson pilgrimaging well here through the Challenger Series last year. And Kira Pinkerton will want to be getting to the big stage in 2025. She's had a reasonable run through Australia, 41st at Snapper Rocks. And you would think with her forehand power surfing, she may have thrown a little opportunity on those good waves at Snapper. Let's go down to the beach and get some fresh news.
Going now, Ryan. We're down here on the competitors' deck. It's a beautiful morning for day 3 of the Ballito Pro. Everyone's enjoying their morning coffee, sitting watching the first heat in the water and setting for the day, trying to get an idea of when the sets are coming through, what the conditions are like. We are expecting a very strong westerly wind to come through a little bit later on this morning, but very competitive conditions out there. It's looking really good. Some of the athletes arriving for their heats. We've got some of the women warming up and with their coaches and support teams here on the VIP deck. Back to you, Gigs.
Thanks, Mike. Good to get a little look behind the scenes there. Of course, Challenger Series emulating the championship tour with all the details, specified athlete zones. And always the first heat of the morning, a real compass point. Everybody's going to be watching this first heat, referencing where are the waves running from. Did the sandbars move a little bit with the consistent swell and the tide push yesterday? And, well, everybody will have their eyes on this lineup here. Still, as we mentioned, we have opened up the heat times to 35 minutes, so just tacking that extra 5 minutes on. Maybe a slightly slower pattern to those bigger sets, and of course Tours and Commission would have had a look at all of that. They would have drilled into the forecasts and making those subtle adjustments for this round of 32 women. Once again, 4-person heats, 2 advance each time, 2 fall away. Of course, a loss here will leave you equal 17th if you're 3rd, and equal 25th if you finish 4th in the heat. And then, well, then that's 1 round before the quarters if you end up in the top 16.
Yeah, it's an important heat. I think, you know, the girls, I was actually just seeing now, like, with the heat a little bit slower. I think it's a hard one. You know, I saw most of the girls out for early morning free surf. You kind of think you've set a bit of a plan up, but we saw yesterday morning too, there was a slight change from the free surf to the first heat, and then towards the end of the heat, it kind of started pulsing through. So hopefully we'll see that again.
Well, 10,000 points for a win. That is, of course, the objective of every athlete that's entering the draw. 64 women in the rounds yesterday, or the day before, my apologies. Let's have a look here. Opening ride finally for Amara Suzuki, a Japanese surfer from Shonan in Japan, making her pilgrimage here. She was here last year in Ballito. Not a great result. It finished 4th in this same round of heat. An equal 25th for her visit last year. Slightly better for Snapper Rocks and for Sydney for the Suzuki surfer. Let's have a look here at a lovely end section. Oops, and a little error for Isabella Nichols early on. It's taken her a little while to find that wave in the heat as well. And just like that, it'll become a throwaway. And all she had to do was land that, and she'll go straight into the good category score section. But that in turn, a 5 or a 6 becomes a 1, and she'll go back to the drawing board with 24 minutes to go.
That's the world's greatest stretch right there.
What is it called?
The world's greatest stretch.
Ah, there it is. Let's have a look here. South African Jessie van Niekerk. Girls seem to be struggling a little with the lineup this morning. There is a stronger offshore than perhaps than what it may be showing on the screen. You can also see that wind already starting to move right to left. The southerly buster is going to increase in wind velocity through the morning.
Yeah.
But, a couple of waves just sort of twisting maybe with that offshore wind as well.
Yeah, I think so. And I've also found in Ballito that end section is very, obviously the sandbar's still there, but it's very much dependent on the way you approach it, how the tide is. And like we've seen, it's pretty low tide. It seems to be coming down a bit quicker than the girls have expected.
Well, our screen showing the water patrol out the back as well. Once again, tip of the hat to SMG Yamaha in the region. Always providing the finest Yamaha personal watercraft for the team. It was great to have so much support in and around the business community here in Quadakuza.
Yeah.
Of course, SMG also our official vehicle partner for the event, care of the Lexus brand. Great to have Lexus involved. And let's get back to some surfing. Isabella Nichols with maybe a little bit of urgency now, needs to get the heat moving forward. That was nicely done. Little inside, not a big wave.
No, but better shape, and I think better timed. And yeah, I think that was a great wave for her to just start building on. But you can see that power she has in her surfing.
Emma, did you ever surf against Isabella Nichols?
I think, yeah, a while ago, probably actually in Australia when I was a junior. Yeah, so she did that nice and quickly because that end section's coming quickly, and she just projects so well of that.
Fitting 2 turns into a smaller inside sandbar wave. Bella Nichols on a tear in 2024. Surfer that has been cut twice at the championship tour level.
Yeah.
So she has her successes here at the Challenger Series, and well, certainly that is the story unfolding again. And of course, a stellar run through the Australian leg of the Challenger Series, that 3rd place at Snapper Rocks, only falling to Erin Brooks in the semi-finals, and Erin just had that amazing 10, so you could understand a loss there. But let's have a look at her win over at Narrabeen, where she really did a stellar run and taking that win over Erin Brooks. Isabella Nichols on her way to qualification in 2025 again. And her surfing always so spicy. Also mentioned a former world junior champion in Isabella Nichols, and a solid run through the Australian leg.
Yeah, it'd be nice actually if we can see her on some lefts. I feel like that was her strength in that event. Her backhand is just so good, and the way she attacks those closeout sections. Hopefully we'll see a bit of that in Ballito.
Well, there was an intensity to Isabella Nichols and Geordie Lawler for the 2 Australian wins there at Narrabeen. Of course, it is the Challenger Series. Those 2 stops now in the bag. Stop 3 underway here in Ballito in South Africa. We'll move to the US Open of surfing for the 4th stop. Portugal for the 5th, Brazil for the 6th, and then the top 4 results count. So a 10,000er in the bag for Isabella Nichols. As we see Amara Suzuki on screen. It's going to be some smaller compact scores, and we also have seen, it's been the pattern, you know, the way the sandbars are, it's a more confined lineup. You end up with surfers with incredibly high wave counts, and we're expecting that to be the same here, especially with the 35-minute heat format on offer.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen no shortage of waves over the last few days. I think the theme of yesterday was no one was safe, especially till the last few seconds. We had a bit of a slower start, but you know, there's still a bunch of waves hitting that bank, but more like one-turn opportunities. Yeah, I think we need one of those sets that are running from the back all the way down to come through.
Well, that medium-sized compact wave for Isabella Nichols is fetched to 6, so there's our indication. There's a reference score for us to hang all the discussions around. Kira Pinkerton with a slightly lesser 5.5 for her opener. So right now already the heat's starting to shape up with those two surfers on screen starting to move into the higher numbers.
Yeah, here's a replay from Kira. A bit of a fast wave. Doesn't manage to get around the section. It's hard because it was a medium-sized one, and like Isabella's was that medium-sized one that ran so nicely on the bank, but that one was just shut down a bit quickly.
Saw that one do a little puff and a little blowout.
Yeah, a little bit of a blow.
Maybe for fun, Kira Pinkerton could have just popped into the tube. Saw a couple of tubes yesterday. No real big numbers from the tube riding. So we have mentioned before that the sand has been slightly disrupted here in Ballito, but still some quality waves and some great surfing unfolding here in 2024. Nice snap to the pocket for the young South African. Young Jessie van Niekerk, who campaigned a number of junior seasons in Australia. It calls Cape Town home. We'll see if she can find her way to the next round here. As we seeing a pair of threes in the scoreline for her at this stage, and she's already starting to chase where the indication of good scores will lie is between 5.5 and upwards. And that could be a good score. Nice and tight surfing from Suzuki, who currently sits second and has been quietly getting the work done in this heat with a 4.9 and a 4.5 and a score to come.
Yeah, I mean, all her waves have been one-turn maneuvers, which she's getting scored well for. It'd be great to see her on a wave where she can line up 2 of those turns. I think it will put her right up there. But yeah, all her waves have had just that one turn, but she's done well to read it and timed it well.
Well, Amora Suzuki, one of a number of Japanese competitors making the trip. Both men's and women's fields here at the Ballito Pro with that Japanese representation. Looking at Amora Suzuki, as we mentioned, her best result is 17th at Narrabeen, so she'll want to be getting through the seat come 17 minutes time. Quick reference to surf conditions again. It is a low tide at 8:45, so 8:44 local time now, just before 8 a.m. So the next hour to 2 hours, we do have this low tide conditions. What I can tell you will happen is as the tide starts to move in around 10 a.m., that wind is going to start howling through the lineup. That southerly buster. Lovely pace to the combination for Isabella Nichols, who's just surfing to the conditions on hand.
Yeah.
Already found that 6, and now she's backing herself up.
Yeah, you can see she's adapted to the conditions. You know, usually with Isabella, you see her take off on a right and just do such a hard bottom turn with good speed, power flow. But you could see that first turn, it was almost a little bit of like a check turn to focus on fitting in that closeout turn.
Well, we'll wait for that score for Isabella Nichols. She'll be dropping a 1-point ride out of her scoreline. Doesn't need a lot, 3.4 to change her heat situation.
Yeah, here's a replay of that. Yeah, I mean, it was a good turn, but you could see she was focused on that closeout turn. Maybe seeing everyone around her, getting those one-turn combos. And yeah, her first wave, she was able to squeeze in 2 turns.
Well, just a medium pace, but showing rail control from Isabella Nichols. Know that she's going to ditch the 1-pointer. It'll be interesting to see where that score goes. Where are we thinking? Mid-range 4?
Yeah, mid-range 4.
Okay, that's out. That's the unofficial commentator's opinion. That's okay. We're allowed those,
yeah, nothing
those chats
radical
from time to time.
Yeah, there wasn't anything radical, but it was well read. Well surfed for what the wave had
Well, it
to
had a
offer.
different pace to her 6-pointer. We saw her 6-pointer slightly bigger wave, slightly stronger lip line. Isabella Nichols will show interest, but a higher priority. Even that was a 4th versus 3rd priority, and even those do matter in heats, and Suzuki not capitalizing on that. Our second place surfer perhaps now about to be ditched. And in the meantime, we owed her that backhand snap, and that number's come in a 5.37, so single maneuver contribution for a counting ride. And well, while the judges haul in those numbers for us, we are expecting a reasonable number from Isabella Nichols. We'll take a quick break here from the Ballito Pro, proudly brought to you by O'Neill. It is a women's round of competition.
Welcome to Kwadukuza, the destination for all seasons. Nestled on the breathtaking north coast of the Zulu Kingdom, this vibrant town offers something for everyone. Kwadukuza boasts several beaches that have been awarded the prestigious Blue Flag, guaranteeing cleanliness and safety for all visitors. Our inland region offers a world of adventure. Get your adrenaline pumping with thrilling activities like ziplining, hiking and off-road biking surrounded by the natural beauty of Kwadukuza's landscapes. Kids will love our animal farm, getting up close and personal with friendly animals. Immerse yourself in history as you explore the rich heritage and legacy of great leaders like King Shaka and Chief Albert Lutuli. Conveniently located just a short drive from King Shaka International Airport and Durban International Conventional Center, making it easily accessible for both local and international delegates, with an abundance of world-class accommodation facilities, dining options and attractions nearby, you can truly make the most of your time in this magnificent region. Kwadukuza, the heartbeat of the North Coast.
The Ballito Pro presented by O'Neill is brought to you by Kwadukuza Municipality, by O'Neill, by Monster, by SMG Yamaha, and by Corona. This is living. The Ballito Pro. This is the battlefield.
Welcome to the Kwadukuza region on the east coast of South Africa. With us for the World Surf League's Challenger Series. Stop 3 of 6. Gixeliers alongside Emma Smith for the call. And it is the round of 32 in the women's draw of the Ballito Pro. Welcome back to the lineup as we bring you those catch-up numbers. A 4.9 in for a couple of turns for Isabella Nichols. We were asking those questions. There is your updated top left of screen. Isabella Nichols, as we would expect, sitting second on the Challenger Series rankings, care of a very successful run through the Australian leg and back-to-back wins in Sydney. Just under 12 minutes for her before she progresses to the next round, we assume. The struggle and the battle in the water will now focus on that second place position. Suzuki currently occupying that second advancing slot. Kira Pinkerton searching for a 4.77, and the South African even a bigger number to search. While we're away at break, we'll pull back the tape for a couple of moments that unfolded. There's already signs, Emma, of that southerly wind blowing, but Kira Pinkerton, Isabella Nichols got going.
Yeah, quick turn in there. I don't think it'll change her situation much. That was a great first turn, and just unfortunate she wasn't able to squeeze in another. Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, Isabella and Amira have had like a slightly different approach to the heat. I feel like Amira's top two waves have been one turn, like getting speed, focusing on that end section, whereas Isabella's more focused on squeezing in two turns, which, yeah, I don't know what's best for if you're sitting in third and fourth.
Well, I think also it is hard to fit in a two-turn combo here. We're seeing the southerly winds almost holding the waves up. You can fit a first snap on the face, but then it's really, really hard to find the lip line with the wind blowing, as we mentioned, a little windier than what it might look. And we are seeing, you know, surfers being challenged to find the two-turn combo in the lineup.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I think when you take off on those waves, you kind of toying between, do I focus on just getting enough speed to hit that end section hard, or like I said, do a bit of a check turn and then try squeeze in that second. But it is getting a bit harder, but not massive scores needed. And we have seen, Mira getting a 5.3 for one turn.
Yep, good point you make there. There is single turn opportunities out in the lineup. Indication of that, the 5.37 from Amura Suzuki. Just having a look at the draw coming up. Fierro, future Olympian, taking on Macy Callahan coming up next. She'll also be in the lineup with Gonzalez Echeverry and Iwa Wong. And you can see everybody. There's an intensity. This is hot. This marks the halfway through the calendar for the Challenger Series. So everyone focused, everyone intent on making sure they get those advancing heat slots. We are in the 4 surfer format at the moment. 2 advance, 2 fall away. The next round is the round of 16 on the women's side of competition. And then we go to the surfer on surfer format. And as I say, then the worst you could do, if you make your advance here, the worst you could do is an equal 9th. Everybody wanting to get to finals day for quarters and above. That's really where you need to be on the rankings come year end. Top 5 made up of maximum points. And as I say, quarterfinals is really where you need to be settling for that year end total of 4.
Yeah, just those extra points when you start going into those rounds is so important. The Challenger Series is just so intense. I feel like you can have won the previous event and go into the next event feeling so confident, strong, and like a small moment or just even a slight mistake can cost you a whole event.
Well, looking how close Suzuki and Pinkerton are, that is that tussle for the second place. And Suzuki was almost elbowing up against Kira Pinkerton there. See Pinkerton just moving across the lineup. And we've been talking about that southerly wind and the swell on offer. Let's have a look at Surfline's forecast for the Ballito Pro waiting period here. As we mentioned, we are on the east coast of the African continent. And of course, we want those southerly winds to usher up those swells. Larger southwest swells lining up for the weekend here for finals day, perhaps as early as Saturday or Sunday. Of course, there you can see the end. We are highlighted higher up in the subtropics of the African coastline. That constant feed of swell from the South Atlantic. You're a former J-Bay resident. That you see a report like that, you always get a smile on your face, Emma.
Definitely. We said it, I think, on the first day of the waiting period. It is a pattern you can sometimes follow. If J-Bay gets hit with a big swell, you want to watch it going down the coast.
There's a look at this morning. You'll see that blowout of wind coming this afternoon. Head high waves on offer here in Ballito in the next 4 days ahead. Similar sizes. We're expecting offshores in the morning, and in the afternoons winds go side shore. And a consistency to the swell. We'll see another successful edition of the Ballito Pro, proudly presented by O'Neill. And back to the water, back to live conditions here. 6.5 minutes on the clock. Isabella Nichols leading over Amara Suzuki in the first heat of the morning. It is a good morning if you're just joining the broadcast. It is the first heat of proceedings. We plan on running 8 heats of the round of 32, and we are cutting the field in half here again this morning.
Yeah, we are, and you can see, like you mentioned before that forecast, Samira really sitting on Kira, paddling up and down. Jessie doesn't need a big score either. Maybe if she just stays away from the paddle battle, she might be able to pick up something.
Well, Jessie van Niekerk will have to find the close to the best wave of the heat. Her requirements are 5.97, and that pace of the best wave is set by Isabella Nichols, who got going early on. 2-turn combo here for a 6-pointer, and that's how you build a meaningful score in the lineup, just crisp and clean. But Amara Suzuki for now holding on to second position.
Yeah, she is, and we've mentioned she's really just focused on that end section, which she's done it with such a stamp that it's been rewarded well. This wave was well read to squeeze in 2 turns. Both her waves have a 2-turn combo on.
It's slightly slower combo, but still a 4.93 in the score. So Isabella Nichols brings her momentum from her win in Sydney. And here's another Australian, Macy Callahan, will be coming up in the draw. She'll be taking on Fierro, Gonzalez, Echebarri, and Ewa Wong. And she'll be watching what her fellow countryman is up to out in the lineup. She will have been in heat preparation. She's been here for a number of days. And it's a serious game face look for Macy Callahan this morning. She needs results from her visit to Ballito.
She does, but she's been to Ballito a few times. I know she has had some good results, mixed results here. Hopefully she can pull it together.
Slipping under 5 minutes and noticing the competitors, 4 of them, the water have split into pairs here. The one pair made up of Pinkerton and Suzuki is the discussion for the second place battle, currently being occupied by green. And you see the Japanese still holding priority. It's been several minutes now of her holding the prior, so firm game plan. Now she pulls the trigger, she uses the prio. Kira Pinkerton perhaps a sell there. Pinkerton needs her own set of requirements of a 4.77, and so now situation will flick over. The priority for Pinkerton will allow her some freedom in the lineup. We'll update that. And meanwhile, just quietly sitting with the scores already banked, Isabella Nichols will have the priority.
Yeah, she will. I mean, Amira, I feel like that turn was a good turn. It was just unfortunate she didn't land it, but now she has lost priority, which is not an ideal situation for her, with Kira needing just a 4.77, but it has got slower.
3.5 minutes on the clock. You're seeing Kira Pinkerton there. That was the situation, the block in play, and an opportunity for Amara Suzuki to perhaps replace her 4.9. She didn't do that, and now she's down at the lowest part of the priority order, and she'll start looking around, sniffing at every opportunity that comes into the lineup. So we're going to keep a close eye on our surfer in blue, Kira Pinkerton. Can she find the 4.77? She has a score above that already with her opening ride of a 5.5. She's got to drop the softer 4.1, and she's going to be measuring up and sussing every single wave now that comes through the lineup as we slip down to under 3 minutes.
Yes, it's now getting a bit nerve-wracking for all the surfers. I feel like they can all drop those backup scores.
Well, the South African will not find the number on that. She's on the look for the 5.97. Back to the drawing board and a lower priority for her. And I've got a feeling that, and we'll pull back the tape, it looks like Kira Pinkerton may have found a left as the camera swung to the right, but we'll have a look for that. I see scorecard is open for both Kira Pinkerton and Jessie van Niekerk.
Yeah, I think she must have got a left there.
Haven't seen many lefts. We've seen a single turn left-hander from the Japanese competitor. Here it is. Good snap in the pocket there. Is that worth the 4.77? That was speedy. What are you thinking, Emma?
Speedy, good backhand turn. I'm not,
well,
not sure.
Okay, well, we're not the judges, so that's okay. 4.77, a reminder, is what she's chasing as we go under the 2-minute mark. Is there enough time for her to find another wave in the lineup? Perhaps yes. It is higher wave counts. There's Jessie van Niekerk seeing if she can find a left-hander into that approaching southerly wind. And perhaps not the answer to her requirements of the 5.97. So we're just going to hang on this moment here now, because waiting for scores is Kira Pinkerton. Could this be at the expense of Amara Suzuki? We're down to under 90 seconds in the opening heat of the morning. It was a speedy wave. I'm just thinking of the lip line on that. She did crack that turn in the pocket.
She did.
And she did it with speed and a little bit of venom.
Yep.
Steal that word from fellow commentator Paul Evans. A little bit of venom, but there was a sting and a speed to that turn.
There was.
And we don't have that number yet. With 1 minute to go, judges are having, this is a crucial score, as is every number that is allocated from the panel. But this is that theme of advancing in second place position. Where is Amara Suzuki in the lineup? She's back to a second priority. And she's already sharking around, waiting for an update from the beach announcers. Jessie van Niekerk does have work to do, and it's a tough situation for her now because she's down in 4th priority. And giving way there is Kira Pinkerton, so no harm, no foul.
I mean, that backhand turn of Kira's, I guess, the waves have kind of changed in the heat from what we saw in the beginning.
Situation change.
Oh,
we speculated it. A 5.2, and she is bursting out of her seams this morning. She's relieved with it. That was a heat that just hasn't really worked out. She's stoked. Have a look at that, just bubbling over with emotion. Requirement of a 4.77 came in at a 5.2, and it was a speedy left-hander, and was only one of 2 lefts ridden in the heat, Emma.
It was, and I mean, like you say, she did it with speed, she did it with power, and that's what the judges want.
Well, experience plays out for 2 former World Junior champions in Isabella Nichols and Kira Pinkerton. Now an official result, that first heat of the morning. A little bit of drama there for the advancing. It's Amura Tsuzuki that's going to fall away. And, well, that requirement for Kira Pinkerton had everybody on the edge of the seats, and she was absolutely relieved with that one. See the conditions here this morning. Calm and collected from Isabella Nichols. As we mentioned, coming here second on the Challengers Series rankings. Care of that back-to-back wins in Sydney. Good spirits here for the opening heat of the morning. Stay with us. We'll bring in Paul Evans and Mike Frew for the call. It is the round of 32 of the women's at the Ballito Pro.
People don't realize what they're doing to the oceans. We got to hand it down to the next generation. It's going to be such a pity for people not to be able to experience what we've experienced.
It's a beautiful morning in Ballito. Waves still delivering performances out on the water. In the studio, meanwhile, joining myself, Paul Evans, the bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Frew Brew. Mike Frew, how you doing, mate?
I think you bright-eyed because of those 2 shots of the espresso that you had down on the hospitality area. What a beautiful morning down here in Ballito. Lovely offshore wind. And we've seen the swell settle down a little bit from yesterday, a little bit smaller. But with that big southwesterly push today, a big chunky bunch of wind coming up the east coast of South Africa, we're going to see some swell.
Yeah, love that positivity. If you're not a morning person, well, you should be around here. It really is the best part of the day. Let's have a look at our next heat. Absolute cracker of a heat. Vahine Fierro, the goofy, the Olympian, surfed great here last year. Macy Callahan going good on the Challengers. Those 2 ranked 7th. The very highly rated European Yanire Echebarri from the Basque Country. Eva Wong, who ripped in the early round as well. So some talent out in the water right now, but a bit of a tricky, I'm going to say, just in terms of the waves coming through, Mike, maybe lost a touch of some of the power and the energy we had yesterday. So I guess it's going to be about surfers that can find these sections and link the turns together, get into the lip with speed.
We've definitely seen that easterly swell that's influenced the waves over the last couple of days disappear almost entirely. Now we're looking at a southerly swell direction, which is the preferred swell direction for this beach. But it's still an early swell that's still filtering in. So it's a little unsettled, I suppose is the best word in terms of how it's hitting the bank at the moment.
Opening exchanges, so a quick wave for Eva. Decent one, couple of turns. And then Yanire with a closer. Here goes Vaine on the backhand, hammers it. And that combo for her paid up massive last year. Sets up the first turn and then into the lip with the tail tap as well, just to show a little bit of extra. She's got a spring and a step, as she'll paddle back out. So the opening exchange, the better of it in terms of aggression, seemed to go to Sefa from French Polynesia, but I really like the smooth style of Eva Wong, and she just looks like she's got a great read on the ocean. Looks really natural. Never seems to look kind of lost or out of place in the lineup. Catching good waves and surfing well, not loads of mistakes as well. So let's see how she goes throughout this heat. Of course, Macy Callahan, we know a lot about her and her successes in the Challenger Series, also in the Championship Tour, of course. Let's check out this replay here, Mike.
So Vaheen was one of the first in the water this morning, and I caught her on the beach just after her free surf there. This is Ewa's first wave. She found a nice open face there and able to get a couple of turns in. And like we saw yesterday, the surfers that were able to get those 3 turns in were tending to move up the leaderboard through the heats. Probably not a massively expressive wave that, but a good foundation to start the heat.
Surf yourself into the heat, make sure you get the finish as well. I've seen a lot of people kind of reach a little bit for that last section and go down, maybe not quite having the speed to match the section. I just thought the flow was really cool, and whether it ends up remaining in a top 2 in, what, 29 minutes or so's time, just to sort of surf yourself in, find where the sections are, match the speed of the wave. You can get down and get a bit of a warm-up going, but with the entire Challenger Series down here frothing in the lineup, pretty hard to get waves. So just trying to feel things out and figure it out. There's Fierro's stats, of course, 7th so far on the challenge. She's been knocking on the door for the CT, and of course that performance that she put in Tahiti on the Championship Tour was absolutely mind-blowing, really. She's in a class of her own throughout that event. Different skill set here on the backhands. Good first turn with plenty of spray, and then the whipping energy to the second turn. Not trying to push it too hard again, just kind of matching what's on offer from the waves. All right, here goes the Basque Etxebarri, and this first wave was a closeout that ran away in that one. Just trying to force herself on there. Not a lot of time or space to move there, Mike.
She's been here for a couple of days already. She surfed some of the junior events. This is her first Challenger Series heat appearance this year, Paul. And she did really well in the juniors.
All right, let's go down and hear from Bella Nichols. She's standing by for a debrief with Emma Smith.
Bella, I saw obviously you paddled out for a free surf this morning. The waves seemed a little bit more consistent. It seems like you had to adapt your strategy slightly to what was on offer in this heat.
Yeah, it was really fun this morning. I went out for the Dawny, obviously, and caught 1 or 2 waves before coming in and getting ready for my heat. Being heat 1's always hard because you're the guinea pig heat, you don't really know what's going to happen. And yeah, it definitely slowed down a lot during the heat, and I'm really glad that, well, I'm happy and I'm not happy that it was a 35-minute heat, because by the time there was like 10 minutes to go, I was like, all right, wind this thing down already. But I'm just super stoked to get that done and get the first heat nerves out of the way.
That's amazing. And obviously you've been coming to South Africa quite often. We often see your card, some of the local spots down the stretch. What do you think of South Africa? How does it feel to be back?
I've been listening to a lot of people's interviews, and I think everyone has the same opinion on South Africa that I do, and that I absolutely love it. The waves are amazing. The people are so kind. You can just end up talking to a stranger on the street here. It's really cool. The food's incredible. I know this has been said a lot, but the steak is like next level. And yeah, it really reminds me of East Coast of Australia. So it feels like home, and I love it here.
Amazing. So obviously you're saying it feels like home. How are you feeling for the rest of the event?
Yeah, good. I mean, it's been, I haven't really gotten too many waves in the free surf, so it's hard to find a rhythm out here. But, you know, getting that first heat out of the way, I feel like now hopefully I can build a bit of momentum. And yes, it looks like there's going to be some good waves coming, so I'm really excited.
Amazing. Well, all the best for the next round, and back to Paul in the studio.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Thorough debrief there from Bella Nichols. She's enjoying herself here as ever, as is Vaheen Fierro, and just stamping authority on this heat, Mike, really early on. The 7-1-7 for the backhand work early on, and then she's just blazed a 5-9 to back herself up prior to the wave we just saw, which was just one turn. So that 2-turn combo on the backhand already a solid total, 13.07.
Yeah, the Tahiti Pro champion adapting well to the beach break here in Ballito. Vaheen actually stays with a local family. Sophie Bell and her family have been hosting Vaheen for the last couple of years. So it's almost like a second home for her in terms of being able to, you know, get into things with the local family, and they're really hospitable. Vaheen's been staying there for a couple of years, so she has her prep in Ballito down, and her performances over the years have just got better and better. It's so awesome to see in the water right now a surfer that has won on the championship tour this year. It's amazing the caliber of surfers that we have at the Ballito Pro.
And yeah, not just one, but I mean, you'd have to say not all CT events are created equal, right? I mean, there are some that just kind of loom out and seem like they have more status, and the conditions that were there, the way she surfed it, I mean, one of the great events in recent memory, and from her, one of the best performances in women's surfing, I guess, probably say we've ever seen.
It was unbelievable, unbelievable, really inspiring. And the other thing I noticed when I was down on the beach this morning was all the young juniors that have come to watch this heat in particular. On paper, there's some, you know, Vahine Fierro and Macy Callahan has had some good results here over the years too. Two big names in global surfing, and it's been great for the juniors to see surfers of this caliber here. I was also thinking, watching Vahine on that last wave, with just a couple of weeks to go for the Olympics, you would have to think she's starting to peak in terms of her surfing performance. These athletes prepare for something as large as the Olympics for up to years in advance, and now only a couple of weeks to get away, she'll be using this event to refine possibly the last couple of strategies and heat-related tactics going into that.
That's a really interesting point. You think about even track and field athletes at the Olympics, you know, they're always trying to peak in terms of that, like northern summer coming into June, July. They're not trying to get their best times in January and peaking early in the season. And in terms of what she's been able to do, the way she's surfing here in particular already in this heat, she just looks so sharp, little extra gear. She's a firm favourite, I would say, for gold in the Olympics in Tahiti. Looking forward to seeing her surf soon as well. Melissa Spencer, recently the championship tour, so good on the backhand. We know that's a real weapon for her, and she'll be looking at some of these rights, some of the scores that Vahine's been able to get already in this, particularly that first one, that 7. She'll be eating them up. The other thing that was impressive about that performance on the championship tour is Tahiti's not always been a place where the locals necessarily done as well as you might think, but how good they are with that wave, that specialist skill set that they have, hasn't always necessarily resulted. I think Michel Burres and how good he is. You know, every year you kind of backing him to do well when he was surfing in that event, but you know, there's a lot of good surfers there, and for Vahine to do that, so impressive, represent her country at home in just absolutely dreamy conditions. I think a lot of surf fans still really buzzing off that Tahiti event, and hey, we're going back there soon. We're going to be watching it on the biggest stage of all in terms of sport. Here goes Macy Callahan. Hasn't got a lot going in this, got the 2.83. Just a touch tentative for her early work, and just by virtue of the fact she didn't exactly have blistering speed into that section, she'll go down. Meanwhile, Fierro, again that rhythm, 1-2, bang. And that's a formula, a recipe that's worked for her. She goes again with the 2 turns. Her previous was a throwaway over 5. Let's see where that goes. 5.9 is her backup. And just relentless from her. She knows exactly the sort of section she's after. She does seem to be picking those waves pretty easy. I think this morning choosing the right wave, Mike's going to be crucial.
So look at this. She's got snappy turns, fast and fluid on her backhand with a bit of spark. Yesterday, Paul, I was speaking to Jackson Bunch, and after one of his heats, when everyone was flaring out and doing aerials, I asked him why he had stuck to just doing the turns. And he said it was a strategy that he intended to do going into the heat because you're surfing to his strengths. He knows that his backhand turn is impressive. He knows how to get up there in the pocket, and he felt that's what he needed to focus on during the heat. And it looks similar to what Vahine is doing in this one with those backhand snaps.
Macy Callahan there, just spacing things out. Nice first turn, really good timing on it. She gave the lip a good crack. And a couple of wiggles through the inside as well. She's stuck in the 2s at the moment. That's her high number. Still plenty of time to go in this 35-minute heat. Does give everyone, obviously, just a little more opportunity just to catch a set wave. It does feel like it will be the set waves that are going to offer the bigger dividends. We're draining out, I guess, with the tide heading towards the low at the moment, so that's why you can see so much of those rocks on the inside, and we're just stretching out that takeoff zone. Looking a little baffled out there is Echebarri. He's got nothing going so far in this, and she's trying to figure out exactly where she's going to find her ways. We'll get a score coming for Macy. It'll be certainly an improvement. We've already got the 5 in for the Hawaiian Eva Wong. Meanwhile, it looks like Fierro again. Here's the rhythm from her. Nice wall in front of her. She'll get that backhand turn and just click it into the lip. So not the combo on that one that she's had in her previous 3 waves, but a nice finishing turn for her. And already in this, with plenty of time left on the clock, you got that 7 locked in, Mike. You'd be feeling pretty good about your chance of getting through.
She's really negotiating the sections really well. You can see there's a little bump across the wave there. That's coming from the southwesterly wind that is starting to pick up. The conditions are quite tricky. The wave's not as clean as it looks on screen there. There is a little bit of wind out there. And Vaheen doing well to get 2 turns in, and she really has fantastic rhythm in the seat.
Previous to last, a hammer, 7.83 for her. Goes with a 7.17. Live action, Callahan here floats down off the top. And looking at a section on the inside, which is a little soft. And she'll just swing around on a rail for an incompletion just in front of the rocks. We're still going to get another score for Vaheen. I'm not sure it's going to improve on her 7s, but that total 15 points for her. Very close to an excellent heat. And in an ocean that just looks like a touch dialed down in terms of energy. That can go a couple of ways for the surfers. You can kind of create your own energy, or you can just kind of be a little bit of a hostage to fortune and just wait for something to come your way. It definitely looks like Vaheen is in the first of those 2 camps at the moment. And speaking of that big statement win for Fierro at home in Tahiti, let's have a look at it and remind ourselves exactly what went down. Absolutely incredible event in terms of waves. We were due to score, and we scored big time over there at the end of the road and represent French Polynesia and France. She knows her way around a tube, Mike.
Look at the size of that wave. It was such a chunky section that she's pulling in behind there. Not perfect, but thick and chunky. And to negotiate those kind of barrels, it's a difficult wave to surf. It's thick below sea level, spitting out. Wow. That's some heavy wave and heavy wave surfing right there.
Yeah, just the skill level, absolutely incredible. You can tell the familiarity. There's no one on the planet in the women's division that's put as much time in as experience out here. Just the way she gets her takeoff. She knows exactly where she is on the reef. That's crucial as well. We saw how important positioning was this year. But a really cool win to see with the Tahitian flag there and represent her home country.
And you know what? She actually looked like she was enjoying it. So it was heavy, but when she was coming out of it, you could see from the smile on her face, although she was making those waves and getting spat out, she was enjoying it, being at home like that.
Yeah, Mum watching on there looking concerned. She doesn't need to. Vaheen's got 15 points already. She's absolutely flying in this. And she'll get another wave here. Streets ahead in this heat at the moment. And a nice looking face for her to deal with. She'll whip the first turn, then into the lip again. And then thought about trying to get a third. The wave had other ideas, but she's almost surfing her own heat at the moment. All right, here goes Callahan in second currently, not with big numbers though. What can she do here? And the contrast in the wave, you see this one, it is stretched out, but so much white water on it. And again, coming into the inside, just trying to force a maneuver on a section that's draining out. Going below sea level. And Macy will go incomplete on the inside. She'll stay compressed in terms of her numbers. She is in second place position, but that's partly because Eva Wong has only got 1 score locked in. We do have another number to come soon. But Macy, another one of those surfers, Mike, that we've seen on the championship tour, know about her quality, and you'd be backing her in terms of her skills to get back there. But just remember, there's only 5 places available on the Challenger Series, and there's definitely more than 5 surfers of that caliber.
Yeah, we've got 48 here in Ballito. I really like Macy's, that wave of Macy's, although it had a lot of foam on it from the previous waves of Vaheen. She seemed like she found another gear on that wave, had a little bit more flow, came unstuck on the end section, but the first 2 turns she connected nicely and seemed to find a better rhythm on that one, Paul.
Tina Hinkle getting ready. Another surfer's had a taste of CT action as a wild card. Back in Rio, just that last event, she's going through a warm-up, surfed well. Came through a heat with Sophia Medina. There's some major talent out in the water there. Of course, Spencer, rate 6 in the world, fresh off the CT. Also looking forward to seeing Sierra Kerr, who's just an electrifying performer in all sorts of conditions, so versatile. And really, it's a question of when rather than if you think she gets her qualification done. But as we mentioned, there's a lot of talent all vying for those 5 spots, so you really do have to go deep into events, particularly on the women's side on the Challenger Series. Meanwhile, let's pick up live action here. Goes to Basque Echebarri. And that's a bit better from her, but it is just that one turn. A little bit of a sort of sign-off move, isn't it? Straight from takeoff. She'd just love a bit more, and she looks a little out of rhythm in terms of the wave she's catching. You contrast that to throwaways from Fierro. She's thrown away a 7 for the backhand hits, also a 5-9 and a 5, and surfers like Etchebarry would love some of those waves that Vahine's catching and doesn't even need.
No, not at all. And at the moment, it really is a battle between blue, green, and white in this heat, because Vahine has actually comboed Macy Callahan, who's in second place. So the young junior, though, it's great to see her in this heat against two such big names like Vahine and Macy. And Etchebarry will be looking to keep chipping away and maybe snatch that second place.
15 minutes to go here. Our second heat of the round of 32 for the women at the moment. It is Vahine Fierro, fresh off a win on the championship tour. She's leading this one, streets ahead at the moment. Eva Wong has just jumped up to second by another mid-range score for her. Surfers like Macy Callahan and Yanir Gonzalez Etchebarry chasing them down. More live action from Ballito right after this.
You come here with respect, you're always going to have respect back. Also, the wave itself can put you in your place.
Welcome back to Ballito. Josh Kerr with daughter Sierra, all smiles. If she's feeling any pressure, she's not showing it, looking very relaxed indeed. That's how you prep for a heat. And you know, when you're relaxed and you get in that flow state of mindset, that's when you perform best and express yourself. She'll be looking to do that. She's got a tough heat on her hands, though. That's coming up in about 12 minutes and 40 seconds time at the moment in the water. It's the story of Vahine Fierro, who's just blazing this one with big numbers. She's throwing away 7s and 6s that surfers chasing her down would love to try and snaffle. Eva Wong with just a couple of rides, just 2 ways ridden so far in this one. Good enough for second place position. She got the 5-3 to consolidate her opening 5. A little bit of a comeback story coming in now, and some numbers starting to come in. So a sluggish start from Etchebarry and Callahan. And let's see if that turns around a touch. We've got a decent number to drop in for Janire, the Basque. And it'll put her back in contention in this heat, certainly for second place position. Think about the couple of 5s that Eva Wong is sitting on at the moment. Just having to think about that for now, Mike. But it's all about really whatever your plan was coming into this heat and your read on conditions, maybe starting to get that kind of approach where you're thinking, you know what, a couple of 5s is going to do it for me. I just need to find some waves and I need to hit it. So let's see how this goes numbers-wise. We'll see a little set standing up outside. Just slightly different looking lip line to it than what we've seen the last couple of days. As you were saying, that's a result of the swell. A little bit more east, so just hitting straight on. Maybe more, rather than that booming long swell that wraps all the way in under the tip of Africa. This one coming a little more direct, just a touch bouncier. Callahan has a look, decides not to go. Here goes Wong. Solid face, but it does have some foam on it. She does pretty well just to add a little extra to that by whipping that tail out. And then down the line she goes. Another snap. That wave just kind of ran out of steam. She was looking for a finishing section to hit. Wasn't forthcoming on that particular wave, but good enough at the moment for second place. But a move being made by Echebarri, 5.17 for her. That brings her requirement right down. She's looking for 5.14 to threaten Eva Wong on screen. Callahan's not been at this. A couple of threes for her is the best of it. She's just not looked particularly interested either, Macy. Get her on a line-up wave. We know all about that style that she's got, how good the timing is and the flow. She does need a cleaner wave, you feel. She's got to try and find a bit of quality in the lineup.
Yes, Paul, her scores have edged up on each of her waves through the heat so far, but it hasn't gone further than a 3.9, and you got to feel she's got more in the tank than that. But like you say, needing the correct wave face, or the wave face that she feels most comfortable on. I see Iwa Wong there has managed to get out of the combination situation, so she has improved her situation a little bit in terms of being able to move into the lead in this heat, but a lot of work to do. She'll require something in the excellent range to try and take that momentum and stamp of authority on the heat that Fierro has at this point in time. The junior, Echebarri, with that 5.17, you'd have to feel she just needs a backup there, Paul, and we could see a big shake-up in the second, third, and fourth year.
9.5 minutes on the clock here. Fierro still leading this, way out in front. And young Eva Wong, a good showing from her. Just 3 ways ridden, 2 of them good enough for mid-5s. Something of a raised eyebrow. The fact the surfer in blue, Callahan, with a couple of 3s. And she's, well, inside that top 10 conversation coming into this event. She won't stay there unless she catches at least a 6-4 in the next 9 minutes. Might need better than that as well, obviously, if surfers around her improve. But that's the size of the task at the moment. Very capable of getting that sort of score is Macy, but not with the sort of waves she's been catching. It just has slightly sluggish energy to them so far. Someone that came out blazing out of the gates this morning, catching waves with loads of energy, was Fierro, and she's way out in front at the moment. A quick in and out for Wong. Just speculating, trying to snaffle something on the inside, get something going. She has looked pretty liberated and loose, Mike. Eva, I like the way she looks like she's not feeling the pressure. You know, you see the youngsters on the other side of the world. They're coming up against some of the very biggest names in the sport. That can go a couple of waves. She seems very relaxed.
Yeah, she's just hunting the medium-sized ones on the inside. So Macy Callahan has now got priority, and she's going to have to utilize that well with 8 minutes to go. Paul, I'd have to feel there with 8 minutes to go and the conditions we've got out here at the top as well today, we're probably going to see 2, maybe another 3 sets in the heat. And in order to get those scores up into the mid-range or higher, Macy's going to have to get on a set. And where she's sitting at the moment near the jet ski, she's just to the right of the jet ski in blue there with priority. And where the skiers, those are the ones that have the longer wall. We're on the low tide now. Full low tide is actually at 8:43. It's 8:38 now. We're 5 minutes away from low tide. Where Macy's sitting now, I fear that she's sitting on a section of the bank where it closes out very quickly on the full low tide. So she's either going to have to get one massive turn in if she gets a wave, or perhaps move a little bit to the left to get a wave that's going to offer 2 or 3 turns.
She definitely needs to do some surfing to stay alive in this event at the moment. 7 minutes on the clock. It's our second heat of the day in the round of 32 for the women. Let's check the recap, and really from the very get-go in this, it was, well, it's Eva Wong that opened up with this, showing her smoothness, and then right behind her, Fierro fired up, Mike.
Yeah, so that was a medium insider coming from the south side of the break. Faheen on a similar size wave, getting right up at the lip, looking sharp, and a lot of spice in those turns. These are the pair of 7s that she managed to get on the scoreboard, and as you say, she's actually got a 7.1 throwaway score. Eva's second wave, this was the 5.3, also a medium-sized wave, 2 nice turns, good control riding out of the second one. Having a look at those two, if you look at Eva especially, she got a 5.3 on that one. It was a medium-sized wave. So for Macy now requiring a 6.4, she's going to need a set wave and something solid in order to get through. 8s on the ratings at the moment. She needs a result here to stay in contention on the Challenger Series.
Yeah, she got priority here first, so having a look around, decides not to go. This will be Echebarri here. But she got good section on the end of this wave, and a full-blooded turn gives it plenty. So Solid turn from her. She's already got a 5-1-7 locked in. She needs a number of that order. 5-1-4, the requirements. Just the one turn. It was nice, though. And put plenty of anger into that. It was cool to see the spray. And crucially, to see the completion as well. So a quick wave for her. Meanwhile, right in front, liberating the fins and sliding out the tail, ultimately to an incompletion. It's Wong. Here goes Macy. Uses her priority here. Looking for a number. Opens up on the rail. This wave's going to get slopey and then double up onto an inside. Just gets away from a touch. She goes for a couple of maneuvers. Combos her up. Nice slash to finish. It's pretty sharp surfing. She just looks a little bit like she's cruising at the moment. She does need to fire up a bit. That requirement might 6-4.
Yeah, and I think that once the score drops in here for Echeberry, we may see things change up a little bit in the heat, because it was a solid wave for her, our surfer in the white singlet. She really smashed that last maneuver, very critical maneuver. And if she's able to bank a score there, she may just see herself moving up the leaderboard there from that 4th position. Macy's last turn was nice. The first turn, you know, she was almost like a check turn. That second one, again, just a positioning turn on the wave. I really liked how she slashed it out and had a bit of flair on the last one. But you've got to do that perhaps on the bigger sections.
You're on the spot here, mate. Is Yanira going to get the number?
I'm going to say yes, because I think it was one of the bigger waves of the day, and the judges are looking for those big closeout turns.
You're 100% right, mate. 5.93 in, jumps up to second. Wong now in a little bit of trouble. Let's get another look here. Just see this one double up, Mike.
Yeah, straight up at the lip. Negotiates the explosion as the whitewater comes down nicely, and through the event, that is the judges giving indication there what they're looking for. They're looking for the surfer to commit to those end sections. It's a shallow, dumpy sort of section, and if you can get the board up there at the lip and negotiate your way down, they will reward you with the score.
It's about 2 seconds of surfing. It's 5.93 of points, and it's second place for the Bass Goofy Echebarri right now. Surfer out of Hawaii, Eva Wong down in 3rd and chasing a number. It's not a big one, 5.81. She just needs a little bit more of an improvement. She's in 3rd priority. So she's obviously just paddled or either taken a wave and surrendered where she was. It is Janire who has 2nd priority as well as 2nd place position. Let's see how crucial that will be. Just over 3 minutes. Macy Callahan way off the pace here. 4.57, an improvement for her, but she's still back needing that 6. And that's that requirement for Eva Wong, who has looked like she's kind of cruising through this heat. All right, here's Macy. This time going left, so always a plan B for the very best surfers. Just surf what they find. Deciding to go backhand and get on the attack there. Let's see what happened on this one, Mike.
So it's a insider. She's really got to get busy with 4th priority. I like that turn. For me, that was her best turn of the heat. Got up at the section, but it was a left. The lefts aren't offering up that much scoring potential. It's against the grain, essentially, in terms of the swell direction here. So it's not going to offer up a long wall. But Macy did well with what she had on offer there, but not sure if it's going to be enough to snatch 2nd place and move up and take that 2nd place away from Echeberry.
A little bit of a gift here. She has a look around and goes, oh, okay, me. So here we go. Macy Callahan still looking for that 6. Bang, really nice. Great turn from her. Dynamic, expressive, but incomplete. So not what she was after. Inside 2 minutes now. She's on the inside. She needs to paddle back out and try and find herself a 6.53. She needs one of those waves that Fierro was catching at the beginning of the heat with space to do 2 turns and combo it. Here goes Fierro. Whitewater takeoff, a little crease in the wave. That'll hold her up. And eventually she'll just cruise to an exit. She's cruised through this heat with 7s and throwaway scores that would have been very much sought after by surfers chasing her down. 90 seconds on the clock right now. Gonzalez Echebarri in 2nd with 1st priority. Let's see how she goes about trying to control the lineup now, and particularly control Eva Wong. Will be chasing her down and looking for 5.81. And Janire will be looking to just sort of control that as well. And you can see her position there. So, Mike, insider, pretty much textbook position when you got the lead and the priority over your opponent.
Absolutely, sitting there right next to Eva. our Hawaiian competitor in this heat. She will potentially try and solo on one of the smaller ones, but if a bigger set does come through, I'd imagine she'd go and use that priority, which she does. And straight up at the lip again. Gets a little hung up that time, doesn't ride it out. That won't be one of her top two. And now, if there is another wave, she'll be in 4th priority. So she had to kind of go because Eva could have potentially got the score on that one if she'd made that big closeout turn. So she'll just be hoping with 25 seconds remaining that another set wave doesn't come through for our Hawaiian competitor.
Yeah, let's see final 15 seconds now in the heat. That requirement for Wong, it's a 5-8-1. Here goes your heat leader, Fierro. She's been streets ahead in this. Bang, very nicely done indeed. Just extra speed, extra flow. And the turns are bigger, the sections are bigger. And she's really unlocked the best of what you have to say is tricky conditions here in Ballito this morning. She's made it look smooth. Very, very polished performance indeed for the surfer with a championship tour victory over in Tahiti in May. And all smiles as she brings that in. You mentioned her local crew that she's staying with here. They'll be delighted. And that energy, good energy for her, will keep on rolling through to the round of 16. Well done to Janet Echebarri, who also advances out of a tricky heat. Really, 2 very short waves. It was 2 turns that got her the score, basically, on 2 different waves. Good enough for a couple of 5s. Commiserations to Wong, who surfed well. And Macy Callahan, she'll be bitterly disappointed. As we mentioned, going well on the challenges inside that top 10 in 8. And she's out of competition here. She will slip down the ratings. Aine Fierro looking to build that platform to qualify for the CT in 2025. And in order to do that, a good result here in Ballito will go a long, long way. That wraps up our second heat. Next one looks great. We're going to see Alyssa Spencer, Ellie Harrison, Sierra Kerr, and Tyner Hinkle. That'll be heat 3, the round of 32. It's a beautiful morning in Ballito. More live action from the Ballito Pro presented by O'Neill right after the break.
The Hydro board short is something that I've used for quite some time now. One of the main key factors still is the no tie fly. It's comfortable, it's convenient, and it works. Ultimately, what I'm looking for in a board short would have to be comfort and then convenience. If you add those 2 things together with a spice of color, you've got the perfect board short.
Good morning from Ballito. Crisp lines filling in out of the Indian Ocean and offering surfers like Alyssa Spencer, recently of the Championship Tour, rookie this year, bumped off at the mid-season cut, wants to get back for next year, and she'll do that by way of big performances in events like this, the Ballito Pro, and straight on the tools. A running left for her. It's mainly been about the right-handers this morning. Her backhand is absolutely lethal, and it'll need to be because she's got a tough heat. Ellie Harrison, the Australian, the great surfer, Sierra Kerr, just electrifying the future, really, of the sport. She's out in the water too. Tyner Hinkle, a great surfer from Brazil with a ton of power and some good heat strategy as well, some good aggression. So looking forward to seeing these 4 go at it. Here to talk you through it, joining myself, Paul Evans, Mike Frew. Let's check out some replays, Mike.
So Alyssa Spencer, a lot of time at this event last year on that left-hand breaking wave, and she utilizes that bank that she's quite familiar with from last year to open up her account. It's interesting that we've got lefts to open up this heat as opposed to rights, and they're utilizing that on the full low tide. So the tide turned 7 minutes ago, Paul, so for the rest of the day or the rest of the morning at least, we'll see this tide filling in. And quite a stacked heat here, Paul, because we got Alyssa Spencer, who made the who was on tour earlier this year, as we see this replay of Sierra Kerr.
Yeah, comes unstuck on the inside there, doesn't she? I thought the first turn had nice spark to it as well, and she just looks so loose and aggressive, Sierra. She'll be disappointed not to make that second turn. But I tell you what, just every time she stands out on the ball, you never exactly know what's coming. Some surfers, particularly when they get into a heat, I'm not going to say the surf's safe, but it does tend to be as a little bit of a formula, and if it works, why change? I just feel like surfers like Sierra with that X factor, you never exactly know what she's going to do, and it's so good to watch. So she will be just slightly ruined the fact she fell on the second turn, and she'll know exactly what she needs to do to make those kind of turns as well, and she'll be looking at these rights. She's just got so many options available. We know about the air game. She's an absolute charger as well, big tubes. I mean, really one of the best around when it gets solid and barreling. It's probably not what we're going to be seeing at this event, but I just feel like in terms of the maneuvers she's able to do, attacking the lip, she's got so much spark. Let's get another look at this wave.
So Sierra paddles very hard into this one, gets the speed from the paddle, rotates the shoulders around. Beautiful execution in the first top turn, rotates the shoulders again. And that time I feel like the fins just drifted a little bit, and that is what threw her off balance in the second turn, not able to ride that out cleanly. So what she might have been able to do there was maybe not extend that second turn as much, so almost surf it a little bit more conservatively in order to make it and improve that opening score.
Yeah, I like to see the risk-taking approach from Sierra Kerr. It's always entertaining. Here we go. Here's Hinkle with that power that we talked about and the aggression. Good combo of turns there from her. Very well done. A tight space. He gets the board back up and crucially gets the finish. It's all very well and good taking risks and being aggressive, getting on the attack. But you will need to make your turns for them to score. And she did that there. So already the aggression shown from her. She's got a 5.33 locked in for a first wave and another number coming away. She's surfing very smart heat. Here goes Kerr again. Whips the first one and then goes down, just arriving a little late, trying to prod it up vertical. She didn't have too much to work with on that wave, actually, so we'll forgive her for just trying to swing and give that a little bit of an extra crack. But already showing that she's not going to sit around out there and be overly patient. A third wave ridden for her. She'll keep going. 35 minutes should give these surfers plenty of time to get a couple of waves. Let's get another look at the Brazilian here, Mike.
So Taina also rotating the shoulders and her hips to get right up into the critical section of the wave there. Paul, it's incredible how quick her turns were, considering what a short space of wave she had to work with there. She only went about 20 meters and got 2 big turns in, and you've got to pivot very quickly off the bottom turn. What you've got to do here in Ballito is paddle very fast into the wave. It breaks quickly, and it doesn't give you much opportunity. There's not a lot of time to set up your turns.
Well, Spencer on a reeling left and just tagging the lip, staying light on her feet and just making sure she gets the completion for that one. So after, I think maybe we saw one left from Macy Callahan in the previous heat, we've just seen a bunch of them here, a flurry of them really. And Alyssa Spencer electing to go to that forehand, and as she took off into that one, the wind blowing offshore up the face, all stretched out in front of her. She decided to get on the gas, get the speed going. That speed just helped her, I think, get up into the lip, finish that maneuver. Let's see where that goes points-wise. That would be a massive monster number, but it'll be decent. The best of this coming for the Brazilian, though. 6.23 for Taina Hinkle, who's surfing well in this. Let's go and hear from the winner of the last heat. A brilliant performance from our winner on the CT this year. Fierro is with Emma.
Fahine, from 8-foot chopu to pretty sloppy beach break surfing, what did you see on those waves that you're able to get 2 7-point rides?
Yeah, it's so nice to be in Ballito. I'm like super happy to be here and change ocean, go from perfect to really challenging conditions. It was actually really fun once you would, get the right ones, and I was able to get a really good rhythm right from the start, so I felt really comfortable out there, and yeah, I'm just super happy to be here.
Amazing. And obviously this event's so important, but you also have Olympics that you're preparing for and Olympics at home. How's that going?
Yeah, I think that it was important for me to come here and kind of come down from, the high cloud I was on from Teahupo and then come to like colder ocean, change like mindset and kind of keep the same rhythm in a contest, but it's the same, like taking this, what I'm doing here to the Olympics, and that's kind of how I'm getting ready.
Amazing. Well, you're doing an amazing job, and good luck for the next round.
Thank you.
Great stuff for Vahine Fierro. She's looking deadly indeed. Here goes Ellie Harrison here. Bit of a softer wave. She'll use the rail to just slice that thing back. Then there's a double up bowl for her. Just hits the tail and a finish down on the insides. All the way from Bowen Heads, Victoria, 13th Beach. So down there near Bells. And Ellie enjoying herself in the running. Right-handers already here this morning at Ballito. There's Spencer with a quick in and out. So Harrison's waited a little while to get involved here. Crucially, on that long wave, she got the finish, got a couple of maneuvers done, but that number from Hinkle, the Brazilian, the 6.23 at the moment, by far and away the best of this action. Here she goes again. This is a closeout, not a great choice from her, and it's not sure what she was looking at as she's paddling down the line, but that one always looked like it was shutting down. Maybe a quick throwaway number for her, but that strong start that she's been able to get. A tenacious competitor, I think, as well, we'd say, Mike. And, you know, you think about different sort of way people surf, the way they compete, but particularly surfers with flow. And out here at Ballito, it's that aggressive style. You get these sudden steep sections. If you can kind of make quick decisions and hit the lip hard, you're going to get good scores, even on waves that don't look like sort of classics when you're standing up.
Yeah, it certainly is multiple peaks all over the show out here. As the swell settles down over the next couple of days, I think it'll settle into those big rights. But for now, it's lefts and rights. It's very peaky. On the full low tide, you're seeing it sort of jump up all over the show. And you may be paddling out and you'll have something present itself right in front of you. This is Ellie's wave. I've been looking forward to seeing her surf. She was a wild card at Bells, and I was waiting to see how she would attack these right-hand breaking waves here in Ballito. That second turn looked like a little bit of a layback, but I don't think it was a layback. I think she almost came a little bit off balance there, recovered well, and finished the wave off with a smooth turn.
Yeah, it wasn't a great looking wave. I just feel like she got the 4-4, decent return from that. I think she surfed pretty well, being pragmatic, kind of getting realistic, like a little bit of time's running away, you know, maybe 9 minutes gone when she paddled into that. Just get something on the board, stay in contention. No one around us really got much of real quality, aside from Brazilian Hinkle with that 5 and that 6. So just staying in contention. The 4-4, decent returns, I think, for that. That was well done. She's still in 4th place, but just because she's got one score, and a small number would get her up to attack Sierra Coes with priority, and it's kind of her move next. So let's see how Sierra goes here. She's had a couple of ways. She was really busy at the start, wasn't she, getting those threes, and fell off a few times. She's had a little while to think about that now. What's she going to do next, Mike?
Well, I saw her dad and her sitting on that deck watching the first 2 heats. And with the lowish scores on some of those rights, and the rights looking difficult, maybe her strategy was to go out there and get those lefts and see what she could start the heat with. But it looks like she has, you know, maybe the lefts haven't got the opportunity. Maybe they saw from the beach. So I think she's sitting out there waiting for a bigger right and playing to her strengths on the right here in the beach break here in Ballito.
All right, we've got some sets on the outside. A reminder, priority with Kerr, second priority Spencer. Here we go. This is Harrison from deep. Here she goes, the Victorian. Already got that 4-4. Good speed loaded up in this. And a nice first turn. Very good recovery. And a big hit with loads of spray. Third maneuver's nice. Good number here. That felt a lot like the best wave of the heat so far.
I'd say that's the best wave that we've seen all day. That's a good indicator of the type of swell that we're going to see over the next couple of days, Paul. It came from quite deep and it ran right across the bank on the low tide. She utilized what was the opportunities well. So you can see it's got a little ruffle on it from the wind, but there's the first big section. She comes around nicely. A very deep bottom turn set up on that second one in order to generate the speed to go into that last turn and finish off the wave strong. But that's a well-surfed wave for me in Ballito. Let's see what the judges thought of it. It was a traditional right-hand breaking wave here at Surfers. We're starting to see early indicators of that new swell starting to come in and find the sand and line up here nicely along the sandbank at Willard Beach.
Yeah, any sort of nerves or anxiety she's had, I think, will be allayed when this next score comes through. She'll just be able to breathe and get in a rhythm now. She's going to get a good number here. She's certainly going to move up into an advancing position, may even go to first. Let's see exactly where the number goes. But we talk about that crease that we sometimes get. It's almost like two bowls on this wave. It happened right at the start, though, on that, and she just pumped over it on the takeoff. And from then, clean water, draining, always heading in one direction. Very nice rhythm to her surfing, coming out of the turns with speed as well, rather than getting hung up. That's crucial to build a score. It just makes it look good.
Her second turn, her bottom turn on her second turn, you saw the fins starting to show on that bottom turn, showing the commitment. And if you're able to engage the rail like that, it's going to generate a lot of speed. And she carried that through the second maneuver, and it went right down into the third one.
Live action, Kerr here, bang, very nice, drifts out the tail, so technical. Didn't get loads done before that and realized, you know, I need to add a little bit of spice to this. So nice release on that end section for Sierra Kerr, and this heat now starting to really fire up. We've got a major number to come in for Ellie Harrison, and we thought it was the best wave of the heats, the best wave of the morning as well. 817, she goes excellent. Harrison straight to first place. Here's Sierra.
So Sierra also finding a nice wave, not quite as big as Ellie's one, but the wave also lines up nicely on the bank. You see how she tweaked the tail out? That was a nice little extra that she threw into the maneuver on that wave. She's looking at the beach. She looked at the beach straight after that wave. Of course, her dad, Josh Kerr, is here. He'll be giving some hand signals and helping to coach her a little bit through the heat from that competitor's deck.
It feels like a bit of a tough one. Some venues, you know, your strategy from the beach, you can get, okay, these scores are over here. This is where you want to sit. You know what? Right now, it's hard to work out a real discernible pattern. Think about where Ellie, she went deep to get that bomb and get a really good, well, an excellent score of that 8. But you see where some of Fierro's waves came from much wider in the last heat. And it's hard to actually, I think, from what we're looking at, say, okay, this is where you want to be, because it's a little bit random out there, Mike.
It is random, and you got to try and get into that groove of the sets coming through, into the rhythm of the sets. So this was the 8. She takes off really deep. Big section. She uses that section to generate the speed around the section. I love that bottom turn. Tags that second turn in the perfect spot to generate more speed into the third one. What the judges love in Ballito, or they seem to love, is you've got to finish the wave off well. If you finish off well with that end section, generally you're going to be getting the scores.
Really good number for Sierra Kerr, 6-9 for her. So definitely threatening Hinkle, who after a strong start, gone awful quiet here, the Brazilian. And Sierra Kerr, you have to say, surfing up the potential of that wave. It was a semi-close out at the beginning, just a quick clip off the top. And then as that last section broke, just flaring that tail, really technical surfing. Just getting it. I mean, she couldn't have done a lot more with that. It was very impressive, the fact that she got basically a 7 almost off that wave. She didn't look like had a 7 on it when she paddled in. So that's how you surf up the scoring potential of a wave. At the moment, she still finds herself in third place position, but she is breathing right down the neck of Hinkle, who right now just trails her as those two paddle. Hinkle, second priority. It's very much her move. Also, let's talk about Alyssa Spencer. She comes into shot. She got priority. She is the highest rated surfer in terms of status, also just where she is on tour at the moment. And you'd expect her to perform out here. Recently at the championship tour. She surfed well on that tour, actually. Showed us flashes of why we've been expecting her to get there for a couple of years. She's been really close to qualifying. Here she goes in live action. What she got, the backhand, is one of her strengths for sure. Quick clip outside and then tags it, clicks it, and crucially hangs on for the finish. She made a little bit of a meal. She's trying to ride out of that, but I believe that'll be deemed complete. Where's this number going to go?
So I like how the Whitewater gave her a little bit of a chip into that wave, and having that extra speed after paddling into it gave her the momentum to get around the section. She had quite a lot of work to do. She actually had to pump the board to generate even more speed to get around that section. 2 turns on that wave, and but a set wave. Just before she got it, you saw there were 2 or 3 more waves before that. So she went deep to go and find this wave further up the point, gets around that section, just tags it, and here's where she had to sort of work a little harder to get round, but finds the end section. Not the cleanest finish, Paul, so not sure if it will be enough to, at this point, move her up the leaderboard in a big way.
Yeah, she needs a 7.73. Let's see where this number goes for her. If she can improve on her high score, which is only a 3.8 at the moment. She'll certainly bring the requirement down. There's Maya's coach watching on, and I think he'll be moderately concerned at the moment with the way this one's going. Just the fact that Harrison's got the 8-point ride locked in, and the next wave she goes with second priority. She'll look to build from there. Also Hinkle, she's super dangerous. And Sierra Kerr with that 6.9 on sort of a nothing wave as well. So I just think this one is so hotly contested. So much talent, different sort of talent out there in the water as well. So we talked about consistently how there's so many ways of getting scores here at Ballito. There isn't really one formula to it. And nervous moments for coaches watching on, because I mean, there's all sorts happening in the mix out here, and surprises popping up, little ways where you maybe weren't expecting them. Meanwhile, with 16 minutes and 40 to go on this, we talked about coaches on the beach. We've got a dad on the beach. You might have heard of him. He's Josh Kerr. Let's go and have a chat with him.
So Josh, you've obviously dropped to the B-roll position. How's the nervous system?
I hate being on the beach, to be honest, watching the heats. I'd way rather be out there surfing, or I actually don't mind being in the water, being a caddy. But yeah, it's tough watching from the beach.
Nice. Well, good luck. And we just heard the score drop through, and back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Josh Kerr. Always tough being a parent coach and watching your daughter. You've just got to sit there and let her go at it. Tell you what, she's very well prepared indeed. And let's see how she goes here at the moment. She's in third place position. That was Harrison. And looking really to just get rid of that 4-4 at the moment, Mike.
Yeah, I think that she would have, knowing that that set wave is out there and it's relatively consistent, a couple of those sets through a heat, I would have thought she'd just paddle back out there and use that same strategy to kind of get another one. But opting to take a left to try and improve, those lefts not offering up the same length of ride. This was Sierra Kerr at the same time as Ellie had her wave. On the right, jams the tail around, a little bit of flair in that turn, just the one turn, but didn't have too much spark in that turn, I felt.
She didn't quite get hold of it, did she? You can see the intention, just not quite coming off. 15 on the clock now. Her number will come in. Not sure if we'll see the near 5 she needs to move up. 4.66. It is under that 15-minute mark at the moment. Ellie Harrison with the excellent score, highest number of the day. She's got the lead. It's the Brazilian Hinkle chasing her down in second. Sierra Kerr and Alyssa Spencer will need to find something. More live action from the Ballito Pro when we come back from break.
Welcome to Kwadukuza, the destination for all seasons. Nestled on the breathtaking north coast of the Zulu Kingdom, this vibrant town offers something for everyone. Kwadukuza boasts several beaches that have been awarded the prestigious blue flag, guaranteeing cleanliness and safety for all visitors. Our inland region offers a world of adventure. Get your adrenaline pumping with thrilling activities like ziplining, hiking and off-road biking surrounded by the natural beauty of Kwadukuza's landscapes. Kids will love our animal farm, getting up close and personal with friendly animals. Immerse yourself in history as you explore the rich heritage and legacy of great leaders like King Shaka and Chief Albert Lutuli. Conveniently located just a short drive from King Shaka International Airport and Durban International Conventional Center, making it easily accessible for both local and international delegates, with an abundance of world-class accommodation facilities, dining options and attractions nearby, you can truly make the most of your time in this magnificent region. Kwadukuza, the heartbeat of the North Coast.
Welcome back to the Ballito Pro. Under 13 minutes, bit of movement on the scoreboard here. Kerr jumps up to second. Hinkle bumped down, who got a wave herself but didn't add to her total. She's now in fourth priority as well, and she's in third position. Alyssa Spencer with prio right there. She's going to need to use it wisely. She needs to go near excellent at the moment in one wave. She'll need a 7.94 to get up and attack Sierra Kerr's number. Alternatively, with 12.5 minutes, Mike, certainly 2 waves, doable, but look at those numbers, 11.77, so 6 and a 5, couple of 6s is the order of business for Alyssa Spencer. She's been some way off that so far, but a clutch move from Sierra Kerr, and a similar sort of story actually to how she got a 6.9, just kind of surfing up the potential of the wave, forcing the issue a little bit with that layback, good enough to move up.
Yeah, surfed it with flair, and rather than just do a standard re-entry, she goes up, lays back into the turn, and rides it out. The judges rewarding that sort of innovation on that wave from Sierra, and that's really what she's known for, is innovation. So look at that whitewater. Larry lay back there into the turn, rides it out. Wave was actually a little bigger than what it seemed in real time when you look at it in the replay there. And Sierra surfing well to move up the leaderboard and lock into second place.
Yeah, judges enjoying that 4.87, a decent return for that second position for her. I think the crucial thing as well for Spencer, we saw that long right she got. She was deemed incomplete then. If we look at the number that came through, she just got a 2. It's 2.73 for that right that she got, so judges not paying out that final maneuver. So she just struggled to hang on and come out with forward momentum. They've been pretty clear about that. They do want to see right out in front. Meanwhile, here we go, Hinkle, what she got, bang. Nice and sparky off the bottom. It is just one turn. She would have loved another section, but nice spark and whip to it. She needs to get going here. 5.55 is what she needs.
She took off for that wave, sort of under the lip, and utilized the momentum gained from the takeoff to generate speed into that bottom turn, and that's what gave her the flow going into that big turn. Also flared the tail out a little bit. You could see the board drift right in the critical section of that maneuver. So here's another camera angle. Uses the speed off the takeoff to get right up there under the lip. And she did well with, it was a very, very short surfed wave, probably only about 3 seconds, but the maneuver that she managed to fit in there was pretty good, but the wave didn't. Maybe you feel like if there'd been a little bit more of a section there, a little bit more time to line up that maneuver, she could have done a little bit better there.
Harrison still leading this one, still looking to improve on the 4.4 that she's sitting on. That was her very first wave of this heat, and she does improve on that. She pretty much put this one to bed. Sierra Kerr's come up really and just built up her scores mid-heat with being aggressive, explosive, taking extra risk, being technical. Here she goes on a lined up left. What she got here first turn is a quick redirect, and then puts a bit more into the second one, gets the board going out through the lip, whips it around for a completion. Be interesting to see how this number goes. 4.87 was her last effort. That's the number that got her up into second. Can she get an improvement there? Make things a little tougher for Hinkle and Spencer. And Alyssa Spencer just had to sit there with that priority for a while now, Mike. She knows about that. She's done 5 events of this year's championship tour. So she'll know about that mental game and just kind of stay calm and alert at the same time. But at the moment, time ticking away, and that number looming pretty large. She needs to go near excellent. So under 9 minutes to go in this. Sierra Kerr in second place position will wait for a number to come through from her. Of course, she's a world champ, a junior world champ last year, 2023. And all of the hype and kind of buzz that's been surrounding her was turned into silverware at the 2023 World Junior Championships, and a very well-deserved victory for someone of her status and the type of surfing she's been doing, Mike. It's something of a paradigm shift in terms of performance. She's got everything.
Wow, I mean, that is what that's the look of a world champion right there. Look at the quality of those turns and so much speed down the line. And of course, she's got the innovation. She's got the new school flair that really puts on the map. Hardly a week goes by where you don't see videos online of something that young Sierra Kerr has posted or a new trick that she's landed. Very exciting young surfer.
All right, now it's a case of rolling up the sleeves and just finding waves and sections to hit, building up your total and staying alive in this competition. It's a long, long road to qualifying for the CT. And this is stop 3 of 6 on the Challenger Series. So far, so good for Sierra Kerr. She's in an advancing position. This woman isn't. Spencer in 4th at the moment. She's also surrendered priority. Well, we're actually waiting for score to come through, so here we go.
So that's a big maneuver. As she took off, you could see where she was looking. So as she took off, she already identified that section down the line that she was looking for, and she kept her eyes on that section, maneuvered around in order to get up there and tag it. Ride it out clean. So she stuck that one, if you compare it to her last wave, and potentially the better one that could get her back into the discussion for a progression here, Paul.
Next heat looks great. Check it out. Sophia Medina right now getting some last advice. Also Zoe Benedetto. Erin Brooks, #1 on the Challenger Series, taken to the water. Nonaka as well of Japan. So another great looking matchup about to hit the water. Our attention returned to this one though. The number for Spencer is in. It's an improvement. She's still in 4th, but that requirement's come right down now. 6.51. So by virtue of the fact she got that 5, improved her top score, brought the number down. And she's got herself back in this heat right now. 6.51. She's very capable of doing that. Of course, Alyssa Spencer has tasted success on the Challenger Series. Won in Ericeira, the EDP Pro in Portugal. And that backhand that we've been talking about and how deadly it is served her very well out there. And that last wave, the right-hander getting her back in the heat. Tell you what, though, that, of course, assumes that there is no improvement from the likes of Sierra Kurt, who I feel we haven't seen the best of yet in this heat. We've seen flashes of it. She's got loads more. She hasn't really had a true quality set wave. Also, Ellie Harrison, she's got an 8 locked in. And that 4 as the backup. As soon as she improves on that, it's a really good chance that Sierra and Ellie will improve, and that will make the job tougher for the likes of Hinkle and Spencer. 5 minutes 40 to go. There's a lot that could yet happen in this heat. And I guess, Mike, for surfers in the water, you know, thinking about that big picture, how important results are, you've got to put that out of your mind at the moment and really just think about your next wave.
Yeah, drill down into your next heat, drill down into your next wave and focus on that, because you can't control it without controlling the small things first. So focus on those small details, right down to priority in the heat and how you're going to strategize around that, where your next wave's going to be, and then deal with the bigger picture based on the result. You've got to get through the heats in order to get into that discussion. That last set that came through was the first roll-through set of the day that caught 2 of the ladies out there just slightly off guard. They had to duck under that. And again, that swell is expected to build through the day, Paul, and into the weekend. And this is Alyssa having a little look at that one. So another set. Oof. And getting the best of that exchange was Tina Hinkle on the inside. Just the one closeout maneuver of that set of 3 waves rolling through here in Ballito.
All right, all action. Here we go. Here's Sierra Kurt. Use this priority. And this one will get steep for her. And very nice technical surfing as she just drifts that tail out. Nice kind of board slide through the lip there, and good enough to hang on as well. Quickly grabs that board. She'll be paddling back out. So a similar sort of story where she's had these 1 turns. They've been really technical. And she's added a bit extra. She's sort of doing stuff, showing that point of difference. We'll get another look, Mike.
So this wave's got a bit of energy because there's water on it from the wave before. And if you look at how she put a lot of pressure on the tail pad as she went into that turn, and what it caused it to do was the board to drift across unweighted. She re-engages and then did well to stick with it in order to ride it out, because for the judges to consider a ride to be complete, you've got to ride it out. And she did well to put the little bit of extra work in there to convince the judges that it was a make.
3.5 on the clock. We'll wait for that number to come in for Sierra Kurt. Also, Tina Hinkle, a number to come for her too. We just caught the end of that wave. She belted a closeout section. So 2 different sort of approaches. Section probably looked better for Hinkle, but the maneuver was really dynamic for Kerr. Let's see where that goes. It's been a weird heat for the heat leader, Ellie Harrison. She got an 8, excellent score, highest of the day so far. Other than that, she's had some dribbly throwaway. She got a close out there, which was an interesting choice that she took that wave. It always looked like she was way too deep on it. And other than that, she's still sitting on that 4 she got early on. So hard to know if she's stoked or not at the moment in this one. I mean, you got an 8, you're thinking, yes, but you know, there's a lot of stuff happening around her. There's a bit of buzz going on. She just does need to try and dial in and improve on that 4 to really just kind of make sure in this one she's still vulnerable at the moment. We're still waiting for that number to come in for Kurt. Hinkle's number, that's in. It's not an improvement for her. She'll remain requiring a number. It's a 5.55 still for the Brazilian, unless, of course, we do get an improvement here. Just wondering where the judges are going to go with this. Thinking about that 4.87 she got for just pushing the tail on the layback. Let's see where this one goes. She did really liberate the board, kind of slide it across that cascading lip on that section. That technical surfing from her, that extra spark that she brings. Judges enjoying it so far, and it has offered a bit of a point of difference.
Using her front foot as the pivot, she put a lot of pressure on the back foot in that turn and pivoted it around, got the board to drift across, and then recovered nicely as the fins engaged in the white water. Probably the most innovative turn that we've seen in the heat so far.
It's going to pay off for her here. Judges like it. 5.9 for her. Here she goes. She goes to first place position now. So Ellie Harrison sitting on an 8 in second at the moment. Priority is with Alyssa Spencer, and that requirement's jumped back up now. There's the spread from the panel. And Sierra Kerr, that's been consistent. That's what she's done. From the very first wave she surfed up the scoring potential of kind of average-ish looking waves. She squeezed an extra point and a half by being really technical. Rather than playing it safe, she's actually pushed extra hard. It's paying off for her big time. She's in the lead, just over a minute to go here. And a big upset on the cards if Spencer can't find herself a 7. Here she goes, live action, meaty section, good crack. Hit that hard and crucially came out in front with speed, so did get a completion. Mike, did we see a 7 there?
That was a solid turn. I think that's going to put Ellie under big pressure. Nice set wave coming through. Initially, it looked like she may have been a little bit late going into that section, but the late nature of it allowed her to get up there and really get up at the lip. Look at this, bit of a bend on the wave, hits the lip, comes down into the section, quite a hollow section as she comes down, rides it out. Probably the biggest wave of the set in terms of the section. She got right up there at the lip.
Oh, final 25 seconds here. It's with the judges at the moment to give a number to Spencer. Well, it comes in, and it comes in as a 5.83, so her best, but nowhere near enough. Couple of points short, really, and desperate moments for her now out the back there, and a major upset here in the fact that Alyssa Spencer, and she'll get a little left here, and that won't be offering her anything like the score she requires as she makes her way in. So a bit of an upset to see her go down. Delight from Sierra Kerr, who's just used that X factor that we've been talking about. You don't always get the shirt in heats. Sometimes you just got to do kind of stock surfing. But out there, she showed us the flair that she's got. Also, a very well surfed wave to the tune of an excellent number for Ellie Harrison. Well done to her. She hung on to that 4 for a while, but good enough to get through. So these stacked heats with so much talent, a few surprises going down, but always electrifying and entertaining. Well done to Kerr and Harrison, who will continue on here. A great looking matchup coming up in the next heat. Brooks, Benedetto, Medina, Nanaka. We're going to bring in Cilliers and Smith to add to the syllabants in the studio. More live action right after the break from Ballito.
Welcome to Kwadukuza, the destination for all seasons. Nestled on the breathtaking north coast of the Zulu Kingdom, this vibrant town offers something for everyone. Kwadukuza boasts several beaches that have been awarded the prestigious Blue Flag, guaranteeing cleanliness and safety for all visitors. Our inland region offers a world of adventure. Get your adrenaline pumping with thrilling activities like ziplining, hiking and off-road biking surrounded by the natural beauty of Kwadukuza's landscapes. Kids will love our animal farm, getting up close and personal with friendly animals. Immerse yourself in history as you explore the rich heritage and legacy of great leaders like King Shaka and Chief Albert Lutuli. Conveniently located just a short drive from King Shaka International Airport and Durban International Conventional Center, making it easily accessible for both local and international delegates, with an abundance of world-class accommodation facilities, dining options and attractions nearby. you can truly make the most of your time in this magnificent region. Kwadukuza, the heartbeat of the North Coast.
Southwesterly winds brushing across our lineup here in beautiful Ballito as the World Surf League's Challenger Series Stop 3, and a couple of big names. Take a seat, folks, and watch the show. It's the round of 32 Heat 4, and here comes Erin Brooks, Zoe Benedito, Sophia Medina, and Minana Nonaka. Kixaliers and Emma Smith in for the call. We're having a great time with it. We trust that everybody else around the world is as well, as we get to see number 1 on the Challenger Series rankings take to the lineup here. Erin Brooks wearing the red singlet. Just a single ride as you join the action here. Sophia Medina off to a quick start, and a reasonable number in Emma, 5.33 early on for the young Brazilian.
Yeah, that's a great start. We have seen it's been a bit tricky. We'll see a replay of that wave now. Yeah, it looks like it was all about that final maneuver. Good last turn.
Yep, good last
Kick the
turn.
tail.
It's going to be some big single hits to make scores. We saw Sierra Kerr on the front foot in that last heat, and well, getting into the good category scores. So a reasonable number in early on. Meanwhile, our Japanese surfer Minami Nonaka quickly into frame. Beach break conditions here mid-morning in South Africa. We are in the subtropical region higher up on the east coast called Ballito, and those southerly swells get pushed along by these buster southwest winds. You can see the ruffled ocean surface out the back, and certainly a good sign for the remainder of this waiting period here in South Africa for the Ballito Pro. There you can see strong winds driving that swell, couple of swell lines. It's going to probably rip apart this afternoon, but this sets us up for some big days ahead, Emma.
Yeah, I think we might see this afternoon a bit of a write-off, but it is the wind we want for the swell we've been talking about.
Well, early start, as we mentioned, for Sophia Medina. Seems to be sharking around the lineup. Reasonable number in top left of screen for a 4.17 for Minami Nonaka. So we expect opening rides from Erin Brooks. Here she goes, much to talk about, and that's just a pin drop to start for the lady that arrives here in South Africa, firmly leading the Challenger Series rankings in 2024. And where can Zoe Benedito, the young American, go with this? And she'll get a nice bank in the top corner as well. So it's going to be rapid fire, surf fans. It is beach break conditions here. We have seen a bit of sand moving around. The lineup has changed a bit of shape over this recent summer. El Nino perhaps part of that. But it's rapid fire in the lineup, and we saw some heats yesterday and the day before. We are on day 3 of competition. But we have seen some heats go as high as 10, 11, 12 waves per surfer in some of those exchanges. So expect some rapid fire. Also expect some rapid fire from the lady that took out that last heat, Sierra Kerr. She's down there for the interview.
Sierra, well done on the heat win. Did you have a strategy going out there, or was it just take what comes?
Yeah, it's always just take what comes. I don't really have a strategy going into most heats other than catch waves and try and surf them good, so yeah.
Well done on that win. It really was great to see you here in Ballito. After a great event there in J Bay, this is your first time in Ballito in the Kwadukuza municipality. How's your experience been in South Africa so far?
Yeah, it's cool. It's a lot busier than I thought it was going to be. There's heaps of people watching and always at the beach, which is super cool. Kind of reminds me of Oz, which is sick.
Well done on that heat win, and we look forward to seeing you in the next couple of rounds. A lot of young ladies have come down to watch you, and have you got a word for these youngsters that have come down to watch you?
Yeah, just thanks for watching, and hopefully I start putting on a show for you guys.
Thank you very much.
Well, Sierra Kerr and Dad Josh enjoying their trip to South Africa. They're part of that speciality event down in Jeffreys Bay a week and a bit back. And, well, who can't enjoy a trip to J-Bay? But here she is doing the business part of the trip now. It's Challenger Series heats and points is the focus. And talking about focus, strong backhand surfing from the lady on screen, Minami Nonaka. She is going to bring herself into contention here. Pull back the tapes for a replay. She opened with a 4.17. Judges now pondering a big strike on the backhand for that single maneuver, but in the critical section for our Japanese surfer.
Yeah, she picked up a left. Oh, big backhand turn. She did well to ride that out of the explosion. Although, was that a ride out?
Wow, good. Judges say no ride out. So a flat 1 pointer. And well, that is how tight it is as far as that discussion over maneuver completion. She didn't get the nose of the board back out ahead of the white water. So deemed incomplete from the panel. All scores up to date here as you join us with 27.5 minutes to go. It is the round of 32. This is the round that chops the lineup in half. So we half our field of athletes and contenders. And after this, the format does change to man-on-man surfer, person-on-person surfing. And for now, this will be the last round of this format with 2 through and 2 falling away.
Yeah, high stakes.
Long way to come.
Yeah.
Of course, this is the second time these surfers are in the lineup. We did have that round of 48 2 days back. And you're joining us for our 3rd day of competition here. Is the Challenger Series. And we're loving having all of the potential Championship Tour surfers and some former Championship Tour surfers back in Ballito. Much to talk about here, as we trust that you are enjoying it with us. Bit of TheraBand action there.
So that's a good one.
Looking like Sally Fitzgibbons in heats preparation. Also a big heat with her coming up next. Sally Fitzgibbons will hit the lineup with Sarah Baum, Philippa Anderson and Sarah Wakita. For now, we'll focus in on the surfer that leads the Championship Tour rankings in 2024, Erin Brooks. And a slightly jumbled lineup. We spoke of that blustery southerly wind. And for now, no opportunities really coming Erin Brooks' way.
Yeah, I think it's definitely shifted. I saw in the last heat, a lot of the girls were getting caught inside when the sets were coming, catching everyone off guard. Yeah, being pushed further down, then paddling back up. But there are good waves out there.
Well, let's go back and think of the highlights of 2024 thus far for that young lady, Erin Brooks. What a charge through the Australian leg, and how about this for that semi-final heat. Erin Brooks blew the house away here. The commentators were screaming their heads off, and why not? Erin Brooks for a perfect 10-pointer on the Challenger Series. She does look like she has the full package in 2024.
Oh, no, she has the full package. Yeah, I feel like inside out, she's got such a beautiful, kind heart too. And you can see she just absolutely loves surfing. That wave never gets old.
Back-to-back finals for young Erin Brooks with a win on the Gold Coast, a runner-up in Sydney. She comes here solidly ranked at #1 on the Challenger Series. You would think that a quarter-final or more here is the least that she would expect from her time in Ballito. Looking at that cutoff, around 25,000 points come season end when we count the 4 best results. Are we going to see Erin Brooks qualify for the Championship Tour in 2025? You could speculate already on 17,800 points. But you could bet the house on qualification in 2024.
Yeah, I think I bet the house.
You're betting the house?
I
Okay.
bet the house.
Well, the question is, there's only 5 slots, and we'll answer over the coming events who is going to be that top 5. Sophia Medina would love to be part of the discussion and join brother Gabriel at the highest level of the sport. She'll have her eyes on qualification as well. We've seen her showcase with a reasonable run as a wild card over at the Vivo Rio Pro, proudly presented by Corona just last week. And she's made the quick trip over here to South Africa. And for now, she leads the heat with 24 minutes to go.
Yeah, I love that when you get a sibling combo that both are equally pursuing that same world, as we see her on her left.
Well,
Quick
Sophia
turn.
Medina will just climb up into the lip, just keeping that scorecard turning over, trying to get rid of the 2.33. She did open with the 5.33. And Minami Nanaka now brings, I was going to say brings completion, but she'll again just let that one go. So 2 waves back to back with great potential numbers on her way. she's let those both slip away. And saying that, both Zoe Benedito and Erin Brooks, scorecards relatively quiet. And let's see where we go with this pick in the lineup from young Erin Brooks. It is windy and blustery out there, folks. A little harder than what it might look. It looks a bit postcard on your screens, but certainly a lot of current, a lot of water moving around. And another misfire for Erin Brooks, and she'll go back to the drawing board. Still plenty of time.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time. It's different to what I think the girls were warming up in this morning.
Yeah, definitely lineup changing shape and form here. Of course, we are in heat 4 and we have 8 heats to run to complete the round. But it is a same playing field for everybody. And for now, Sophia Medina has found a 5-3-3 in the lineup. Nanaka with a 4-1-7 and 2 misfires. So we'll see where the remaining 22.5 minutes take us. Of course, Erin Brooks, we saw that highlight from Snapper Rocks, 10-pointer. No Yeti coolers on the Challenger Series. It's only at the championship tour level. Maybe someone's got a spare Yeti. I know John Florence has got a few. And well, what an amazing championship tour run and an amazing Challenger Series run we've had in 2024. And a little look into the athlete area heat preparation. One of the few South Africans remaining in the draw here. Sarah Baum. Just in heat preparation, about to be minted an Olympian. And of course, we've lost a number of surfers in the draw. We saw in that previous heat a surprise result, in my opinion, losing Alyssa Spencer. Let's have a look at the current leaderboard. Also on your screen, some movement from Erin Brooks. So there she is. If we look at your drop banner on the left, we've lost a couple of surfers. Macy Callahan, Elisa Spencer out of the draw, giving opportunities for surfers like Vaheen Fierro to climb in 2024 here at Ballito. And of course, well, we'll watch that scorecard and that leaderboard change. In a couple of days, we'll print out a new situation for the Challenger Series leaderboard of 2024.
Yeah, Vaheen was in a good rhythm out there.
Yeah, great transition from winning a championship tour event in Chopu to switching it up here into the mixed beach breaks. That's what it takes to be a completed surfer. Let's have a look at Zoe Benedito here. Again, just indications that surfers are somewhat wrestling with the conditions here. But let's have a look at Erin Brooks. Nice little tight snap for her.
Yeah, and she managed to squeeze in another. I think had to work pretty hard to ride it out.
We're looking at Minami Nanaka currently occupying that second place cutoff position. And well, a 4-1-7. So you're thinking anything in and around a 5 is a building block score for both Erin Brooks and Zoe Benedito.
Yeah, definitely. I think at this stage, getting a 5 and trying to back that up is the plan. But I think just adapting. I mean, maybe Sarah had a good approach in the last heat, not having too much of a strategy, treating it like a beachy.
Well, Zoe Benedito, nice snap for her. She goes into the wind, that wave just standing up a little more. The more the right-handers, the more this wind is blowing, the more those right-handers are just being fluffed and torn apart. But a couple of lefts running into this southwesterly wind going right to left across your screen. And I think that's going to be a handy number for her. Easily dispatches of her 0.5. I've got a feeling that might just come in as her best score as well. Her current highlight score, 4.23. Think back to a few heats, the opening heat of the morning. Saw a couple of backhand snaps going down for around 5-point rides.
Yeah, I think on your backhand with these waves shutting down quite quickly, you can get nice and vertical. And I did enjoy that wave. I think it comes in just under her top score. Yeah.
Think of Kira Pinkerton's backhand snap this morning that
saved
her campaign here in the round of 32. She was requiring a 4.7, came in at around just over a 5. So expecting a reasonable number here. There it is. It has come in. Slightly softer version for a 3.9, but it's enough to change the heat shape. Medina leads. Benedito now jumps up to second. Nanaka still sitting with that soft 1-pointer. And Erin Brooks struggling to get the number build. for her right now, just her single best round of a 3.67. So fairly low scoring, grindy heat unfolding here in the middle of the round of 32. We are carefully watching this, as we mentioned, in that top 10 Challenger Series rankings. We have lost Macy Callahan this morning. And well, here's somebody that comes to Ballito, also sitting at the top of the pile. Sally Fitzgibbons.
I love how much she loves surfing and loves surfing heats too.
Yep, a consummate professional, a former Olympian. And looking forward to seeing Sally Fitzgibbons coming up in the following heat. Still plenty of time. This one pretty much hitting the halfway mark. You take 17.5 minutes times about 2. It's 35 minutes is what we are offering this round of competition due to the ever-changing rhythm of Ballito this morning. Of course, tours and competition, just having a look at that southwester. They kind of looked at the rhythm, swell period and intervals. Just opened up those heats a little bit for day 3 of competition. Here is Nonaka. Nice and sound fundamentals to that lip line for our Japanese surfer. And now she'll be getting rid of the 1, and she doesn't chase a big number to go back up to second. 3.97 is the requirement.
Yeah, and you can see she went for one of the smaller ones, which hit that bank nicely. I mean, we've seen not too many big scores have been dropped, but I'm sure the girls are grateful. It's a 35-minute heat, which, like you said, is enough time. But yeah, I think keeping busy, that closeout section is one of those ones you want to just nail a few times in the heat.
Emma, what is going on with Erin Brooks here?
Yeah, a bit of a slow start, but yeah, I mean, she has paddled up and down a bit, maybe just starting to just change what maybe she thought she was going to do when she first paddled out. She did fall on, I think it was her first 2 waves. Here's a replay of that last wave we saw. This closeout turn was great.
Nice number expecting now from Minami Nonaka. Doesn't change the situation of the heat. She'll ditch the 1-pointer, chasing the 3.97. So relatively low set of numbers. Here goes Erin Brooks to the, I was going to say to the sky, but she'll just crack a turn out. Nice strong fundamentals as she approached that section. And I think that's a smart move as we go into the back half of this heat. This southerly wind really is tearing and just grating the lineup apart. You see how broken that lip line was there for Minami Nonaka. All credit to our Japanese surfer, who's now expecting 2 scores from the panel. But this lineup getting blustery and tricky. And I think definitely as the tide turns over, almost 9:45 in the morning, so a full hour after the low tide here in South Africa, you can see as we mentioned, how difficult the lineup is becoming. Just Medina just getting tripped up there. But yeah, I think a sound number. We'll wait for the judges to gather those scores. They owe Nonaka 2 scores and Erin Brooks going into the wind for a solid sound hit. We'll take a break. The judges will get the catch up, and we'll be bringing you more from the Ballito Pro. Does Erin Brooks bring a heat together here at the Ballito Pro?
People don't realize what they're doing to the oceans. We got to hand it down to the next generation. It's going to be such a pity for people not to be able to experience what we've experienced.
Welcome back to the show. It is the third Challenger Series stop of 2024. Good morning as we greet you from the lineup. 13 minutes remaining in the round of 32 Heat 4 encounter. Kixelia is alongside Emma Smith for updated scores, top left of screen. Sophia Medina is in the lead. Minami Nanaka has backed herself up with a 4.1 as a backup score. And requirements are in that 4-point range for Benedito and Brooks. As we get more surfing coming at you. Holding this one together, looking to improve on the 3.1 is Sophia Medina. Charlie's happy with that. Charlie's lived in a suitcase for like the last 2 decades. Saw him and his son Gabriel, 3-time world champion now, Gabriel Medina. Does he make the final 5 in 2024? So many questions on the championship tour. And of course here at the Challenger Series, all the questions are who's going to be part of the 2025 picture. Do we get a Japanese surfer in the name of Minami Nanaka up to the big stage? Right now she's occupying 2nd place position. We'll see where she goes in her crusade here at Ballito. Just having a look at Minami Nanaka. Didn't attend the 2 events in Australia, so this is her first run at it, which leaves her basically 4 opportunities, so she can't drop an event if she wants to campaign for a championship tour qualification in 2025. 6 stops on the Challenger Series. This is the 3rd stop, as we mentioned. And from here through to the US Open, over to Portugal, and finish it up in Brazil this year. So Minami Nanaka will want to get the heat advance here and not really find herself dropping an event between now and year end.
Yeah, definitely. And as you know, the Challenger Series has enough pressure as it is. But today I feel like the approach is all about that one turn, which does also put extra pressure on you when you take off on a wave and feel like you only have that one moment. But she's done well to land those closeout turns in the beginning of the heat. She wasn't quite, but I do think it's going to be all about that closeout turn.
Well, all about that closeout turn is perhaps the theme that could salvage both Zoe Benedito and Erin Brooks here with just under 11 minutes on the clock. As we mentioned, a blustery, windy day. We compare these to those southwest busters that make their way up the east coast of Australia as well in a very similar pattern. Whenever the wind does this and in the frame of competition, I always think back to Newcastle in the mid-80s. There was a heat that was about to unfold, a final between Mark Okilupo and Tom Curran. And what happened is Oki, being the Australian, understanding that southwest buster, sneaked 2 waves in a couple of minutes. The buster came through, tore the lineup apart, and left Tom Curran scratching for scores.
Oh, no.
It's a great story of the southwest buster, and I always remember referencing it. And well, that is perhaps part of the story here as the wind rips through the lineup. We're going to see more and more left-handers. 2-turn combo for Sophia Medina, who got that 5-3-3 just before the wind really started ruffling the lineup apart. And does this wind cost Erin Brooks and Zoe Benedito as we come down underneath 10 minutes to go?
Yeah, I think she has maybe got wind of that story too. She started the heat early. I feel like also moments before that wind started picking up. But 9 minutes 37, I mean, it has been slow. So it's hard. The pressure's on Zoe and Erin.
And in your days of competing, Emma, let's just talk a little bit about your competitive record. Did you do a few qualifying series events?
I did a couple in...
Were you a nervous competitor?
Yeah, when I become nervous, I start to get as Hansi would call, the chicken paddle, and my strokes become short and quick, so I get into waves with less speed than I would like. And I think some people when they get nervous, they slow down and try just focus on wave selection. But for me, I go, let me try catch everything and then be out of priority in the lineup.
Well, talking of wave selection, Erin Brooks looking to the right-hander there. She's just got a pair of 3s here in the lineup in blustery Ballito on this Wednesday mid-morning. Let's see if she changes. I do feel that going to the left and going into the air is perhaps going to be the salvage operation for Erin Brooks. Meanwhile, nicely into frame comes Zoe Benedito. And that is a useful wave. That is going to serve her well in the picture of this round of 32 heat. It's a low-scoring affair right now. The best wave is the 5.33 of heat leader Sophia Medina. And that was right at the beginning of the heat, just as we transitioned into the start of the coverage. And from there, it really is a lower set of numbers. So the 5.33, the highlight score. Zoe Benedito's requirements, 4.82. And thinking about, pull the tape back for that, I think that two-turn combination might just knock on the door of the requirement here for the Floridian.
Yeah, I like that first wrap.
Here we go, easy paddle in for Erin Brooks. Saw her in Sydney all the way to the finals. There's the left. We thought this might be the solution. That could bring us a smaller wave, I will say that. But nice flow, almost a little peg on the first maneuver, so she'll go back and want to repeat that with around 7.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, that was a good recovery on that first little wobble we saw, and I felt like when she hit that wobble, she was almost a bit behind the section, so she did well to still get around that section and complete that turn in what looked like a very polished way.
Well, it was a smaller wave, Emma. You know, that one just stood up and had a little pockets. The other surfers are switching onto it now. We've seen this is the second time Medina's going to her backhand here. She'll just pet the kitty for completion. So everybody just grinding it out in this heat here. Zoe Benedito, meanwhile, we thought of that combination of turns. It served her well. She had a requirement, and she's gone over that, 5.57. We see a new heat leader now with 6.45 on the clock.
Yeah, I like that wave. We've seen a lot of waves where the focus is on that last maneuver, but she manages to whip it back, which is not what we've seen in this heat, and then end it strong. Yeah, I like that.
Like that one. And here's a replay of Erin Brooks.
Yeah, that's good recovery there. Managed to get around the section, and a strong. I mean, that's an iconic Erin top turn.
Yep, so getting the job done here. 6:15 on the clock. We'll wait for those numbers. Judges playing catch up now to rapid fire here in the lineup. Minami Nanaka back into screen, trying to get her pair of fours nudged up. And then a couple big backhand turns from Sophia Medina as well.
Oh, a lot of waves ridden in those last few minutes.
So judges' scorecard open as we go under 6 minutes. It'll take a minute to just clarify all of this. And as we wait for those numbers, we'll just sit back and think of, again, Erin Brooks' outstanding run through the Challenger Series in Australia. 17,800 points. She won't want to drop the ball here. I mean, we're talking a quarterfinals or more, and Erin Brooks is pretty much on her way to qualification. Still plenty of opportunities for her, but right now the 5.63 is the new number to advance, and we are awaiting a score from her that perhaps that advanced number will change, because we feel that she may replace her low score of the 3.03.
I think she did. You can see she might have changed the plan to the left, but then I feel like the last run of waves, you know, the girls were going right and fitting in two turns. Now we see on her right again.
Well, blustery right-handers. This one's linking a little bit. Quick snap turns there from the young surfer who got her surfing career underway in Texas, of all places. There is a community of surfers in Texas. Think of the fun waves on offer in both North and South Padre Islands. You know, everybody thinks of Texas, and you think of just Galveston and surfing behind the tanker liners. It's not that. There's some beautiful, pristine coastline in that Gulf of Mexico region, and a very enthusiastic surfing community as well. A couple of great surf shops as well in those areas, and they'll be, of course, easily following Erin Brooks and her journey through 2024. And yes, judges' scorecard still open. Previous wave entered a 4.8 now for Erin Brooks, so a new number will change her requirement to a 4.51, and we still owe her a score. So perhaps an opportunity for Challenger Series #1 ranked Erin Brooks to salvage this heat. This is, no matter what, even the heat leader Zoe Benedito hasn't hit the double numbers just yet. 9.8 heat total. Have a look here. It's rapid fire, as we said in the lineup. Back to live action. That's going to be a throwaway. Still 3 minutes 45, and I think we'll see more from Erin Brooks with the clock winding down.
Yeah, Erin only needs a 4.5, which is not very different to that last left we saw. but I think what I've seen on screen, she seems like she's further down the peak. Maybe, I mean, she doesn't have priorities. She's obviously trying to pick up what she can. But if she...
Well, Emma, it's been rapid fire. We still owe Medina, Nanaka, and well, we're up to date with Zoe Benedito. But I'm thinking of those backhand turns of Sophia Medina. Here she goes again. Her intentions to replace the 3.97. Nice big open turn. She has showed remarkable steps in improving over the last 18 months. The young 19-year-old younger sister of Gabriel. And a nice big open turn again. Could that be nudging her scorecard and increasing the requirement for Erin Brooks?
Yeah, I mean, I like that turn. And like you say, there's been huge improvement with her surfing, as we see another wave from Minami.
Wow, that one is going to change the requirements for sure. Minami Nanaka, solid input here as we go down to 2.5 minutes on the clock. So Erin Brooks is going to have to dig deep here. There's going to perhaps be a bigger number to chase, because if you think of requirements of Nanaka in such a tightly packed heat, we are crunching half points and decimals here. And back into frame is Zoe Benedito, so that won't change the heat leaders' numbers. But a full-on thrash out going on between Sophia Medina, Minami Nanaka, who's brought us a good two-turn contribution on the forehand. And of course, Erin Brooks still chasing numbers.
Yeah, it's a thrash out. I mean, this wave, she surfed it so well to link it. This final turn was great. She still, I think her previous wave had come through.
Well, the first question we ask Emma is the 417 of Nanaka, was that last wave we've just seen better than a 417?
I think yes.
Yes, okay, so the requirement's going to go up for Erin Brooks here as we come down to 90 seconds. Priority is with Erin Brooks. She's going to be chasing, we feel, just a quick number crunch as surf fans. She's going to have to go into a high 5, I think it'd be the number. You look at her 4.8 in the scorecard. If she can find a 5.5 point ride, she's going to jump up and beat that 9.3, which is the cutoff currently being held by Medina. Is this the opportunity? Left-hander into the wind for Erin Brooks. A small version of Narrabeen on show here. Two-turn combo again. Oh, that second turn a little bit in a ragged lip. Was that the requirement? And again, we're speculating the requirement because there's a bunch of numbers to come our way. And just like that, rapid fire, we're inside the last minute of this heat.
Tons. I'm like, I can't quite figure out who's got the edge on that.
4.6 for Sophia Medina. A lead change. The judges bought into that big backhand turn, single turn. Zoe Benedito drops to second. Requirements now are in the 5.01. We ask, did Erin Brooks get a 5.01 on that? And still some rapid fire coming our way. It's been a busy heat number 4 here this morning in Ballito. And could all of this be at the expense of the surfer that arrives here number 1 on the rankings? Crunch moments. This is what happens. It's the Challenger Series. It's the 4-man format. 2 surfers advance, and we'll just stay with this while we're waiting for scores. Erin Brooks. We want to try and pull back the tape as well for a relook of the left-hander. The last roll of the dice for Erin Brooks, but her requirements have shifted up into the early 5-point category. 2 turns again. I'm just thinking that wave through. We'd love to have another look at it, but think of her previous left. Erin Brooks's previous left a 4.8. Was her last left-hander better than her previous left-hander?
It looked like it was going that way. That last turn was great too, but it was. Did she ride it out completely?
Well, we don't know. We're with you, surf fans. We have no idea. Erin Brooks on screen. A little bit of a heavy brow there from her as well. She'll be frustrated with this trip to Ballito. Think of her trip here last year. She got a 33rd in Ballito. Hasn't really paid out as a Challenger Series stop. We saw at the end of last year get a win in Saquarema and then into full flight in 2024 on the Challenger Series through Australia. Medina on screen. 5.33 and a 4.6 holds that cutoff in second place position. And the heat is starting to change shape as the numbers pepper in. Manami Nanaka judges 8 up that 2-turn combo on the forehand for a 6-pointer. And wow, a shuffle to the end, and it looks like we're going to lose Erin Brooks in the draw at the Ballito Pro. She's hearing, yes, enough for second, but I'll tell you the other success story in this one has been Manami Nanaka. She sneaked that 6-pointer out in the back part of the heat where those right-handers really were falling apart, Emma.
Definitely, and she surfed it well. She kept her head, she built on her scores, and yeah, like you said, she went for that right and managed to turn the heat around.
Still awaiting for the official printout of those final numbers here. And that there, folks, is you could speculate in a discussion, an upset result. We'll lose Zoe Benedito. We'll lose Erin Brooks in the Ballito Pro. And Manami Nanaka, all credit to her 6-pointer late in the heat, plus the 4.87, just getting over into the 10.87 category. And Sophia Medina, some strong work. She opened up with the right-hander for the 5.33. Single backhand hit for a 4.6, saves herself and gets her in onto the round of 16. Wow, stay with us. Another big heat coming at us. Sally Fitzgibbon, Sarah Baum, Philippa Anderson, and Sarah Wakita will join the lineup. We'll take a quick break after this.
The hydro board short is something that I've used for quite some time now. One of the main key factors still is the no tire fly. It's comfortable, it's convenient, and it works. Ultimately, what I'm looking for in a board short would have to be comfort and then convenience. If you add those two things together with a spice of color, you've got the perfect board short.
Welcome to Kwadukuza, the destination for all seasons. Nestled on the breathtaking north coast of the Zulu Kingdom, this vibrant town offers something for everyone. Kwadukuza boasts several beaches that have been awarded the prestigious blue flag, guaranteeing cleanliness and safety for all visitors. Our inland region offers a world of adventure. Get your adrenaline pumping with thrilling activities like ziplining, hiking and off-road biking surrounded by the natural beauty of Kwadukuza's landscapes. Kids will love our animal farm, getting up close and personal with friendly animals. Immerse yourself in history as you explore the rich heritage and legacy of great leaders like King Shaka and Chief Albert Lutuli. Conveniently located just a short drive from King Shaka International Airport and Durban International Conventional Center, making it easily accessible for both local and international delegates, with an abundance of world-class accommodation facilities, dining options and attractions nearby, you can truly make the most of your time in this magnificent region. Kwadukuza, the heartbeat of the North Coast.
What happens underwater is out of sight and out of mind. We're now aware that plastic in our oceans is at an all-time epidemic.
Welcome back to a slightly premature Corona Zero post-show. It is what it is because that Southwest Buster has blown through the lineup here in Ballito. although a warm subtropical day, we do have that strong southwester. It was forecast according to Surfline, and well, we're going to have a premature, as we mentioned, post-show. We're going to pull the handbrake on things. It's a late morning. Good morning from Ballito in South Africa. Gig Cilliers alongside Emma Smith. We went through a controversial heat there. Welcome back to the studio, Greg Emsley, former championship tour surfer. You were out and about having a look at that last heat. Tell us a little bit from the field.
Yeah, it got tricky. You saw that wind come up. I was watching a bit of the surfing, listening to you guys as well. And that wind came up. I actually thought those little left-handers started giving more opportunity, into the wind. They were a bit cleaner on the face. It got tricky out there. Good call to call it off. That wind just getting a little bit southerly and tricky out there.
Greg, I told the story during the heat call. Emma and I were on call for that heat. And I mentioned the story of Ockie versus Tom Curran at Newcastle back in the mid-80s, and it was an exact same situation where the heat was set, the heat started, Ockie knew the buster was coming and he sneaked out 2 waves and the lineup tore apart. Curran was left wanting in that, and it was almost a similar story there. 5-3-3 for Sophia Medina early on, and then we just went into a pattern where there were hardly any scores coming, and even Erin Brooks, with all her talent going into the wind, we thought perhaps she can get a left and find a solution to that heat, and it's a huge news, and obviously it makes sense. We'll just go on hold. Let's go down and hear from the winner of that last heat. Lots from the beach to talk about.
Minami, that was such a clutch heat win in the last couple of seconds of the heat. Well done on getting through that round.
Thank you.
I know English is not your first language, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to answer in Japanese, but give us a rundown of how that heat went for you.
本当に最初全然スコアができなくて、最後やっとプライオリティを持って残り3分ぐらいでチャンスをつかめて、その波できっちり2発決めれて6点出せたので良かったです。
Well done, and we really look forward to seeing you in competition again once it gets underway. And stoked, big win, big names there. Back to you guys in the post-show.
Well, good result for our young Japanese surfer. She'll be advancing, but the big news, we've lost Erin Brooks. And that's a whole story for this morning. We've lost a couple of big hitters in the field this morning, round of 32, chopping it in half. And our first talking point, guys, is we lost Macy Callahan in the second heat of the morning.
Macy did battle. She struggled in this lineup. Didn't really get going. I watched that heat live. She just didn't arrive today in competition, and just battled with the rhythm of the ocean. Decent on that way, but even her body language, she just didn't look the part this morning.
Well, someone that did look the part was Fierro. She really got the job done, surfing very, making that transition from Chopu. Here's the other shock discussion here. We have lost Erin Brooks in the Ballito Pro. She tried to salvage the heat, couple of snaps there at the end, but she left her wanting a mid-range 5 for the requirements. So, and then the other one, of course, we lost Alessa Spencer a little early on in the draw. So 4 heats, and wow, we're just going to pull that handbrake here at the Ballito Pro. We're just going to let that southwest buster run through the lineup. And of course, Surfline predicting this wind, predicting it coming up the coast. And, well, this will bring some more swell as well, Greg.
It's going to bring more swell. You think about the 4 heats today, strategy, a bit of luck coming into it. Surfers at advanced today will go, okay, well, I'm on a bit of form, but a little bit of luck's with me as well. And maybe going into the next couple of days, they're going to take that with them and go, well, I'm meant to be here, because it was a tricky morning, but there were opportunities. Tomorrow, I think we're going to see some great surf.
Well, it wasn't all doom and gloom. A standout heat did take place with Sierra Kerr, Ellie Harrison, Tiana Hinkle, and Alessa Spencer. And we mentioned again, we lost Alessa Spencer in this one. But Sierra Kerr did a lot of things right here, Emma.
She did, and she didn't actually start very strong, but when she needed that score, I think it was actually on the 1 turn, she managed to get some innovation. But yeah, Ellie, I think, got an 8-point ride in this heat.
Greg, I'm feeling, it wasn't all, as we said, wasn't all doom and gloom. We've got a couple of good performances, still some reasonable scores coming out of the heat. So we made this the pick of the morning's draw. Heat number 3 is our pick heat, and Sierra Kerr, as I say, getting that advance as well.
Yeah, we saw Fierro with a couple of really strong turns. Of course, Ellie got that one a little bit up off the point and got on the right side of the crease of that wave and really managed to get into a rhythm with those turns, getting that excellent ride and a late charge from Melissa Spencer. I thought possibly she's going to get close. It was a very big, clean turn at the end, but not quite enough.
Well, Sierra Kerr, strong management, lets the tail go. Current world junior champion, making the trip to South Africa. We did speak also about her at the J-Bay speciality event. So Josh and Sierra, they'll be around for another day of competition. But big news, we've lost Macy Callahan, we've lost Alyssa Spencer, and we've lost Erin Brooks. Of course, this is stop 3 on the Challenger Series. There's still the US Open, there's still Portugal, there's still Brazil. So looking forward to seeing how to, and as we're going to have a whole new change of shape on perhaps at the top of the Challenger Series rankings if someone can get a breakthrough number here in Ballito.
Yeah, well, this is the time. If you're low on the rankings, you see what's happened and you take your opportunities. Now's the time to attack. Let me attack this leaderboard.
Yeah, opportunity perhaps, as we mentioned in that top 10 picture on the Challenger Series, perhaps an opportunity for Vian Fierro, about to be minted an Olympian. We picked out her performance this morning. This is the opportunity here in Ballito for her to climb those rankings. She come here ranked 7th, Greg, and well, perhaps she'll be leaving Ballito a lot higher because she looked very comfortable in the lineup.
15-point heat total, 2 strong scores in the 7s. You talk about Olympics. This is the last major event before Olympics. You look at her role. She's just come off the win in Tahiti, and for me, she's the pick for the gold at Olympics. You see the way she rides. Chopu, her focus through the barrel is just untouchable. So she's going to really find good momentum out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that Southwest Buster through the lineup here. We've just pulled the handbrake. But as we mentioned, it's exactly what Surfline forecast, guys. And with the Southwester here on the east coast of South Africa, always a lift and swell. So looking good for the future days ahead of our waiting period.
I can't wait to see her. There's a lot going on, as we've mentioned, down in the deep south. There's a couple of swells. I'm going to look forward to tomorrow morning, light winds, little offshore, low tide. I think we could be in for a little bit of treat and into the weekend as well.
Well, we'll be back tomorrow morning for a 7 a.m. call here in South Africa. That wind will blow through the night, and what it will do as well is it'll resculpture some of the sandbar as well. We are expecting a lift, so stay tuned. We're looking forward to tomorrow morning. We trust that you've enjoyed the show as well. Is it too early for a Corona, Sarah?
5 o'clock somewhere.
Well, we'll figure that out. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. All the best from South Africa, and we'll leave you with the highlights of day 3 of the Ballito Pro.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.